Yes, we are running late tonight, Peanuts. I had a bit of secretarial work, you might say, to do with some paperwork for the mother-in-law's things that we're going to do for the afterwards thing, like the will and all that sort of stuff.
Pseudo quantum tunneling.
Huh?
Yeah.
Try hydrogen dioxide plasmoids. Oh dear.
Yeah. Yes, well, we'll look at that. That's a bit of a preview of what we're going to be playing
Okay,
in a
teaser.
minute. Yeah, that's a
Teaser.
teaser. Yeah. Yeah, don't spoil it.
Right, my speed test. I got a ping of 12 milliseconds. That's not bad.
Okay.
A download of 63.5 and an upload of 14.8. Now that's about as good as my connection gets. But this gives the odd flicker, and for some reason I lag horribly on Amazon Chime.
And you're not running any other programs either, are you?
I mean, obviously I've got Discord open, but other than that, I've no AutoCAD, no Revit, no nothing.
Okay. Where's my... Yeah, I'll do Telstra's might as well say.
Problem is, I can't get me on speed. That's a laugh. I can't get proper fibre to my house at the moment.
I've got a 3 ping.
Oh, that's good.
54.3 down. And should be 20 up, but it's a bit lower. That's usually higher than 50. What it says 15. But I've got 54 down. And 3 milliseconds. Yeah, okay. Mustn't be that bad. Good enough. What, no animations tonight, Timbo?
No, as I said, I updated OBS tonight, and one of the other plugins needs to be updated, but they haven't updated it yet. When it's the plugin that connects my animation to the video.
You got a very slight crackle in your mic.
Mm.
Very slight.
Yeah, I got a new headset tonight. I'm trying it out.
Well, if it's new, it's new and it's got a crackle.
Yeah, so
That's not a very good start, is it?
Yeah.
No. Well, see, I can't hear what it sounds like yet, so I can hear you guys really well, but I just can't hear what I sound like.
You'd have to do a sound check in the Discord one to hear what you sound like.
I can. Yeah, I did that. Test your microphone. Troubleshoot. Let's see, I'll turn myself up a little bit.
What? Hold on, Farmer's Boy's on speed. That's what Colin said. No. What?
I hate to think what I'd be like on speed. Bloody hell. Oh my God, there were some slow ass buggers out on the road today.
Oh, well, it's your roads, that's your problem.
Do you know you can go round roundabouts at more than walking speed?
Oh yeah, that too. Well, it's 40 kilometres an hour minimal speed for roundabouts here. Or maximum, whatever you want to put it.
And I saw an absolutely hideous gopping Toyota thing on the way home that's on trade plates. And I can't remember what it's called. I'm trying to find a photo of it because it was really sort of, it's awful. Never seen anything so ugly in all my life.
What, like a ute or something? Like a four-wheel drive or?
Yeah, it's a four-wheel drive thing, but oh god, the styling. Oh well, I think I found it. That's what it was called. It's a Toyota FJ Cruiser in yellow. It's the most hideous vehicle I've ever seen.
So Paul's got J hyphen B L. Where's Clive out there? He's not out there, I'm guessing. There's a hyphen.
Bit of hyphen, hyphen.
Yeah.
Just typing in a clue now.
Yeah. Like Gene something? John Dan Dam, whatever his name is.
What, Jean-Claude Transit Van?
Yeah, that's him.
John Bohemian
But
Lover.
that's the
The
letters
muscles from
Jean. I'm guessing he's French. But then again, I don't know many French scientists.
I think I know what his first name is, but I can't think what his.
There
So
you go,
today's
there's a clue.
scientist was French. There you go. I guess
Yeah.
the French, who had an alternative theory of evolution whereby acquired characteristics were inheritable.
Yeah, I can't remember his surname. It's Jean Baptiste
Yes, I have heard of that name.
something, and I can't. There we go.
Is that
Truth
how
Nerds
it's
has got
spelled?
Truth Nerds has got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Got the right spelling on the mark.
Looks
He
right, I
does.
think. Yeah.
Well done, Truth Nerds.
I think Jazza was trying to say Jean Baptiste Le Frenchy, but not Le Frenchy.
The Frenchie. Oh dear.
Geez, we're way behind on Lindsay.
His actual name was Jean-Baptiste Pierre-Antoine de Monet Chevalier de Lamarck.
Oh,
Well, that's just bloody
I'm glad you
greedy.
didn't put that in up on your screen.
Yeah.
That would have took a bit to figure that one out.
My parents didn't
More-
even give us a
more
middle
commonly
name.
known
you know.
as Jean-Baptiste Lamarck.
I was going to say, the rest of it's rather extraneous, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the. I'll show you guys in here where we're up.
His full name was Ramesses Niblick III. Kaplunk, kaplunk. Whoops, where's my thwiggle?
Leapfrog. Leapfrog. How far back are we? 10.
God, I must watch some classic Red Dwarf again. I don't know why, because I think I've remembered most of it.
So how many more Lindsay have we got?
Well, I'm
Hundreds.
just looking to see how far back we. Like his last was, say, 2 days ago, 9, 10, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, a month.
Oh,
Yeah, we're about a month behind.
oh no.
Because we've already finished watching part 1, 2, and 3 about gravity,
Yep.
which he hardly even touched on. I'd say that one there. How many minutes is that one? 17. Yeah. I'll do that one, and then we'll probably go to that one. I'll probably
What, you-
skip
you're not-
Didn't we do that Toyota film? We did that Toyota one?
Toroidal.
Yeah, that one.
Half of his videos are about toroidal fields, so that's nothing to go by.
Yeah, you can't go by that. But we'll do that one anyway. And then we'll probably go up to that one next. We'll skip a couple of these others. We'll end up jumping. We'll end up catching back up eventually. I'll grab that one.
Oh, better just top this up. Not going to waste this perfectly good tea.
Okay, I was going to say it's cuppa time.
Do you want it with sound effects?
Yeah. Lindsay speed. Check. Unmute. Check. Peanuts can hear it. Check. Let the peanuts see it. Check. Now it's time to go and do those chores you've been putting off. You've got 15 minutes and a bit.
Chores? What chores? I'll set them up and they just don't work, does it?
Oh, you're prepared. You got a flask. Oh, you got 2 flasks.
Yeah, well, that was the one I made for the drive there,
Yeah.
and that was the one that's going to keep me going through the day. But unfortunately, I'm back home a lot. Well, I'm not just going to tip it down the sink. I'll bloody drink it.
And they're doing their job, being a thermos flask. They're keeping it.
Exactly. Yes.
Is it entropy? The word for it? The for the heat transfer to go from outside to inside a flask or something? I'm probably on the wrong track. When
I was
a
getting a
particle.
snack. What are you on about, Terry?
Oh, is it entropy when something can go from inside to out? Vice versa.
No.
Sort of, but no.
Conduction.
Yeah.
Induction, yeah.
Well, what am I thinking of entropy for then? What's that?
Isn't induction? Induction is where you draw one thing from one spot to another. Is it?
Well, what's the definition of entropy then?
Well, there are many ways of saying it.
I thought it didn't exist because you can't have it without a container, isn't that right? Something like that.
Apparently. One could say it's a measure of how much energy is available for you to do work. It's a measure of the state of disorder of a system.
According to the entropy, ENTROPY, that's right, isn't it? Measure a number of ways a system can be arranged.
Yeah.
According to. Yeah.
Ben Ball said getting old and slowing down.
Yeah.
Okay then. Everyone's got what they need and
I have.
I'm ready to press.
Just looking for my pillow.
I've got
Okay.
some lovely French brie, some pate, a nice brandy.
That's your midnight snack, what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you got to get up in the morning, so don't drink too much. All right. I better DM Matt.
Hey, Terry.
Oh yes,
Press
Paul.
play.
What could I do for you?
You can press proceed.
Okay.
Welcome everybody, welcome to another video by Flat Earth Philosophy. This video is about the moon and a question I've had from a science wannabe, one of those members from the clan of Dan. You know, Simon, Dan, all those ignorant science wannabes, not intelligent enough to figure things out for themselves. I give them the whole model here. I mean, I don't explain it totally, but they haven't got the nous to associate anything. with anything. They can't add 2 and 2 together. Or if there's something missing, they can't figure it out for themselves because they're so far indoctrinated they can't think for themselves. So the only way people are going to get the picture is by opening up their mind, leaving the indoctrinated brain behind, find the original one,
So just make
start
shit
using
up.
it. Because it all makes sense and it cannot be debunked. You only have to try and understand it. Once you understand it, you realise it all works.
Well,
Now,
you can't
I'm
argue
doing
with
this video
stupid.
again. It's the second time because I'm starting to sound a bit like that whinging Dave, Professor Dave. You sort of end up talking like that because you've told the story so many times and you're trying to convince people the truth, you know. I start to sound like a bit of a whining, whingy, freaking idiot. So I'm going to do it again and try and relax and get it out there. Like, people don't know, so I have to explain it properly. So let's go back to this
What's
guy's
them balls link that he
statement
got?
or comment,
Have a
okay?
look at that.
His name's Simon Ginn. Just posted this
No,
online
thank you.
on my site. So first they all start off abusing and calling you a dickhead and all sorts of shit. But anyway, I give it all back, so I'm not fine. It doesn't affect me. But instead of trying to
Not
figure it out
so
themselves,
bad.
that's
No,
what I
he
do,
probably
just come
just
back and
block
call
you or whatever.
Tell you you're an idiot.
Yeah.
That's my speaker falling off. I use it's two-sided
Oh,
tape.
audio. You're having audio issues, are you now? Really?
Sorry about that. It's got no proper attachment if I'm sitting the camera up on a tripod.
Well, he doesn't know how to edit either.
Okay, says, okay, let's do this. So how is the moon always circular, whichever phase it's in, and from wherever you are on the Earth? If the moon is a 2D circle in the sky, then would it not be elliptical everywhere except where it is exactly overhead?
Yeah, that's a typical question we ask.
So my quick answer
Yeah.
was, here we go then. First of all, find your original brain. An indoctrinated one is no good.
Wow.
The moon is a concave disk. It is an image cast onto the
God,
wall
it's
of the central
concave,
vortex
it's not
of
convex.
creation. And we are all projections from that center of creation. So we look up and see the concave moon move around the wall of the vortex, known to us as our arc of horizon, man's arc of horizon. Our arcs are a nice 180-degree meridian, just like Earth has one, from the North Arctic to the South Antarctic. You know the meridian's a nice 180-degree arc, and ours is 360 degrees around us, just like it is around the flat Earth. Centre Arctic to the Antarctic is a nice 180-degree meridian, and they're all the way around the flat Earth. And that's just like our dome, our man's arc of horizon. Same thing, man is of the Earth. It's all the same stuff. Inside a vortex is a spiral
Yeah, I
motion.
don't remember him mentioning the moon's concave before, Jez.
This
We might have missed
controls
that
or
one.
determines in and out cycles of the moon's phasing around the black hole centre of creation, which is the centre of the vortex, and the ecliptic plane rise and fall for seasonal changes. The sun is moving around the black hole also on its horizon inside from the moon. It moves faster than the moon around the hole. This is how we get the moon phasing. If the sun is on the other side of the black hole to the moon, then the moon becomes dissolved in the light of the sun. It is in the face of the sun because the sun's energy is cast across the black hole amplifier of our realm into the face of the moon. If the sun catches up to the moon, comes around to the same side as the moon, then obviously the sun's light is cast back across the black hole, leaving the moon exposed without the sunlight on it, exposing its own light, the full moon. Hence why we get the full moon not affected by the light of the sun. It has its own light. That's just a quick
Wow,
answer to that. So
self-illuminated
now I thought, well,
moon,
hey, I haven't been
down
explaining
the
this
road.
properly in my videos. So let's try and draw it out, okay? First
Yeah,
of
have
all,
fun with
let's look
that.
down
Yourself.
on a toroidal field. Like this.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
that's right, Timbo. It's a toroidal, concave, convex projection on the moon.
But imagine there just millions
What
of those,
meridian
okay?
that's supposed to be.
Millions of those.
It's supposed to be meridian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got the other way. Because it's a dual system, positive and
Just as
negative.
said, you're fluent in
Electron,
Lindsay in present.
photon or proton.
We need to make
Continuously going like that. So there's your toroidal field.
What's that, Paul?
I said we need to make some Lindsay bingo cards.
Oh, yeah.
It all comes from the central vortex.
Just put toroidal
There's Earth.
and
You could
repeat
carry
it
on and
15
say it's a
times.
hyperboloid. Okay? this Earth has been created from this black hole centre. So this is our Earth, we live on it, and up here is the male coming into the female.
Oh, here we go.
So this is the male coming down
It's
to
the
the female,
narrated one again.
Yeah.
and this is the female spiralling up, like this. And from the central vortex creates the whole torus field.
He doesn't realise
Central
it's so
hyperboloid.
rated, this video.
Down here, because the torus goes right around the Earth. Well, it actually
Yeah.
goes through the Earth, but it's like this. Imagine it like this. So everything is cast out from this connection point here. Bingo. That's where the black hole of creation is. In there, and it's all cast out onto the wall of the vortex. There's the vortex looking down, all the way down to the centre. Okay, or middle. So everything expressed out. Everything is cast out. So all the images we see in the sky are all cast out onto concave like this, or the planets anyway. Sun and moon,
Talking about the
all
moon,
cast out on
Lindsay.
the.
Can't
the
just stick
perimeter.
to one thing.
So, and what's happening is, let's draw it another way. So basically, you could say the centre of the vortex, the place of rest that's created Earth, the black hole centre, the place of rest is a forever moving hole, and all the action is here, the ecliptic plane, and everything is cast out. So remember, it's spiralling up, pumps up and down in that vortex, spirals up and down like this. This is what gives the seasonal changes. So if it's at equilibrium like that level, then the
Yeah,
sun
we're
would
waiting
be
for
dead
you,
centre
Space Matt,
of the
to
ecliptic
tell me
plane.
what to do.
Let's just call that the ecliptic plane, around the centre here.
Oh, you're having lunch. Okay.
Why is it called a place of rest if that's where all the action is?
Okay, just about lost myself. Maybe I'll start the first video, but this one's a little bit trickier. What we have to understand is all these connection points are nodes. This is what the sun is following. As this thing's turning. So the sun follows, but there's millions, so you'll always see the sun. Every man will see the sun in his arc of horizon. The sun is in many places, but only seen in one, in his arc of horizon. Because he could be up here, he's going to see it in his arc of horizon. This guy's going to see it down here. Because this one meridian, this one curving magnetic field line is the sun. One nodal point in your arc of horizon. So you all have one nodal point, you could say. And the seasonal changes curve down and out, up and in like wings of a bird. It's down and out, and then come back up and in for the northern solstice. So, forget the sun being an object. It's not an
Get
object.
back to the moon, Lindsay.
It's all frequency based, and it's just on the magnetic field lines. Nodes, nodal points. These nodal points here have shown in what's created here. The pairing, I think they call them the pairing in physics, sons and daughters, but it's the connection here. This connection goes back and feeds the sun, but I've got another video on that one. So, and because this moves down and out, you've got this effect going on. So you've got to imagine this is the net. Every man's arc of horizon has the net. And this is the seasonal change. So you've got to imagine the net and the sun at the centre. It's just off centre because the black hole is the centre, so the sun's off the centre. But let's just imagine it's at the centre. So it's at the centre and it sits there. And this is a net. You have to imagine the magnetic field is a net. This is mentioned in religion. The net, fishing net. Crisscross net. These are nodes with all the crisscrossing. And the sun stays in the middle here and it just follows the magnetic field line. Which way it's casting its energy will go down that line. But that line's forever moving, isn't it? So that the sun is always moving around. So this is why you get on a magnet, the ferrocell, on Ken Wheeler's videos, you'll see the nodes all around here in this tropical zone. So we see that, but in our physical world, wherever you are on the earth, you'll get your node in your arc of horizon, wherever you are. As long as it's that time of the day, it's the same time of the day anywhere on the earth. I mean, wherever you are, that line represents the same time. 1 p.m. there, be 1 p.m. here. Well, actually, you just keep that to the northern horizon. Because
I'm waiting for him to get back to the moon.
Just
Space
imagine
man.
this is the northern horizon. The run lines, the spider web, and celestial navigation, whatever you want to call it. But everything is cast out from the centre as discs around the vortex. And that's what we see. And that curving is our curving of the magnetic field, our arc of horizon. Okay? So, that's another way of doing it. So we're going to get up and in, and then you get it down and out. You've seen the symbol somewhere, I'm sure you have. This is the sun. So the sun is stuck in the middle, reflected out from the dead centre, and it will follow this curving magnetic field down and out. These are the nodal points on one of these magnetic field lines. And when the season changes, goes back up, then the sun comes back up in here. See? Some people think, oh, if the sun's in here and it's down and out, or up in the centre here, yeah, it should be pointing up here if that curved down. If the sun was in here, it'd be pointing into here or something. You know, but no, it's not like that, is it? It's there, it's on these lines. Down and out. Southern solstice, northern solstice. That's how it works. The sun is not an object. Okay? Many places, but only seen in one, your arc of horizon. It's all connected with your eyeballs and your brain. Torus field, the expression of the hyperboloid, the entire system. The two forces come together and create Earth. So this is our physical realm we understand, but it's all being created back here, at the central hidden vortex, at the centre of creation. Okay, I've just done a video on that, whether I put up or not, or shall I just expand on it now? Creation. This is creation, that's the created. So the created is an expression of creation, then the created has to feed back to creation to keep the perpetual cycle going. And I explain this in the next video, I think I'll put it up, about how the system has to feed back in, because it's an expression of that anyway. So, I think I've explained that alright, have I?
No, you haven't
moon
explained about the moon. No.
Would have expanded on that a little bit more. So let's say, let's just use as the overall picture. It's all coming out of the centre here. So, if you've got the sun here, on this side.
I'm talking about the moon, not the sun.
Cast its light that way, which means the moon will not be seen if the moon is here, because it's dissolved in the sunlight. But if the sun moves around here, to this side where the moon is, if this just pretend it's gone to the spot here, right? The moon's not there though, let's say the sun's moved around there, then its light is now going to project back across the black hole this way. So the light's going this way, then obviously you're going to have a full moon. Well, not obviously, but then you get a full moon because the sun's not affecting it. The sun dissolves it, remember? Just like the stars during the day, they expand and dissolve. The sun moves away, they shrink back to the nucleus. The light, the energy.
So the moon being lit up by the sun is not
I think I've
what
explained it pretty
Lindsay
well.
says.
The black hole, you've seen this in science.
What it's
they draw
saying,
pictures like this, don't you?
Yeah, what about gibbous moon?
This sort of thing going on. The black hole,
How's it go?
perfection. That's what creates life. It's coming up in a big video of mine. The holy place. That's
Well,
what
I'm going to
religion
pay for
refers
it
to
to your
holy.
Patreon, Lindsay, to see it.
We're going to get into that. That's it. Thanks for watching.
Wow.
Well, that was instructive.
I think
no,
you've
hang on a
only
minute, I was
mentioned
watching
the
something
moon about 2 or 3 times, if that.
No, he was constantly measuring.
And what was the
Yeah.
title of the video?
Because
We
the
know
moon and
Earth
the
is
sun
flat
are the same
within a
thing.
toroidal field.
Oh,
But then he
okay.
brings up something about the moon in a comment, and you can't go by the titles, I tell you.
No. Jezza wants more.
Oh, you want more, Jezza?
Too short. One more, Terry.
You're a glutton for punishment, Jezza.
That's one way of putting it, yeah.
No,
Aha.
Space Matt's here. I thought he was having lunch. He must have gobbled his
Must
food
have
down
finished
pretty
lunch.
quick.
Either that or he's going to be talking and eating at the same time.
No, we can't have that.
Because he never does that.
Nah.
I think Chester needs to go to his LHA meeting, his Lindsay Holics Anonymous.
What I want to know is, if this vortex is hidden, how does he know it's there?
Because he made it up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the obvious answer. Just
Just say he knows it's there. He
farmers,
invented
play
it.
along, farmers. Come on.
Sorry.
Talk about me
Sorry,
not playing along.
I had my rational engineer's head on there.
Yeah, stop being logical and rational for 1 minute.
You know why it's there? Because he drew it on his whiteboard.
Ah,
Mm.
that says it all then. So
Yeah.
he's obviously privy to all these secret things that are hidden, but not the rest of the world. Only him.
Yeah, you can't see it, but it's there.
Can't see it, but it's there. It's hidden. But it's
And
there.
the
And it
moon's concaved, but self-illuminated.
It's concave, is it, and self-illuminated?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
The moon and
it's
the moon and the sun.
It's the
are
same
the same thing.
attribute. It's the same attribute that all flat earthers have. They all have some special knowledge that no one
Yeah.
else is privy to.
I think Timbo was trying to say something there.
Sorry, I was just saying, if my mic is working.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
it is, yeah.
Yeah, the sun and the moon are the same thing, according to Lindsay. So he was talking about the moon because he was talking about the sun, because he said that they share the same toroidal space. So therefore, when he talks about the sun, he talks about the moon. So
Oh, they share the same space. Oh, okay. Because there's some
Yeah,
flat
didn't it-
earthers. Some flat earthers think. Oh no, that's different, isn't it? Some flat earthers think the moon is a reflection of the Earth, don't they? Quite
Yeah.
often.
but no, he doesn't think
Right.
that. That's silly.
He doesn't think that's silly. Flat Earth is silly, but Lindsay's makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Timbo,
that was
Timbo
his-
hasn't
that
been.
was-
Timbo
Go on.
hasn't been introduced to the backside of the sun yet, has he?
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. The backside of the sun. Yeah, that's even more complicated. But there is a backside apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. You haven't heard that yet.
Oh, he's going to
No,
do some studying on Gaussian physics as well, doesn't he?
Gaussian physics, yeah.
And Paul keeps threatening that Paul keeps threatening he's gonna do a Lindsay quiz.
Quiz.
He keeps threatening. He hasn't done it yet, but
I've got it partly developed. It's just that there's only so much research I can stomach at a time
Yeah.
to go through his videos to find good
It
questions.
sounds so strenuous to do that.
yeah, it's like listening to somebody like Oakley to figure out what he's talking about and present it to somewhere. It's kind of like
Or whatever
You
your
can
favourite
stand a
drink,
few minutes with
whatever
them.
your favourite drink is, Paul, I'd be drinking a lot of it if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
yeah, lots.
Does anybody actually listen or watch Oakley anymore?
Who?
I haven't done it in 5
Exactly.
or 6 years now.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
his audience is dwindling away to nothing. Poor thing.
Yeah.
He might
Yeah,
have to
he's-
go out and work for a living.
He's still got the same number of subscribers, but his views are just going down and down and down.
So I'd heard. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to his channel in, I can't remember, long time.
Oh, we're going to do the housekeeping questions then, just so you can reminisce.
Okay. Yes, we have. Yes, that is real. Yes, it exists.
Okay.
Don't be an idiot. Yes.
Okay. Well, that answers all the housekeeping questions. We can move on.
What, in that order?
Yeah.
Is that precisely in that order, Farmers?
Doesn't it go along the lines of, is there any evidence of curvature?
Curvature,
Yes. Is there evidence of rotation? Yes.
yeah.
To which all of his guests reply, no, don't be absurd. Of course not. No, I bet that hasn't changed a bit, has it?
Probably not. I don't know.
Aimball said I'm subscribed but blocked.
Blocked.
That'd be
Sounds
right.
about right.
Now, I've got a video here courtesy of, so that way we can know who to blame. Who gave it to me? Oh, Blue did.
So it's Blue's fault.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Do any criticisms or concerns or anything like that, address it to Blue.
Address it to Blue Marble Science, Ingram's Drive, Redditch.
Yeah.
Behind the hot water pipes.
PO Box 54.
Now, it goes for a
That was
bit over 2 hours farmer, so I don't know how we're going to skip.
I think you've just got to randomly pick points. You know,
Well, we'll watch
just
the
sort of say,
introduction. We'll watch the introduction
yeah,
for a bit.
yeah.
We'll get.
Because I have no idea what's in the video either.
No, either do I. So we'll watch the first bit
we come,
of
the
it,
bin man.
and then we'll do a jump.
Yeah.
So we'll get the introduction out of the road.
There's only one thing I know for certain. Whatever's in it's bound to be wrong.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
I think you can put money on that.
Yeah. So do you want to do it like certain styles? Let them speak for 2 seconds, 2 words, and then we jump in and say things?
Who could you be talking about?
You want to go past the first bit because it's just a song.
Yeah, I'm trying to just skip past that bit. Here we go. That'll be the start.
Oh, is that Witsit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It says Witsit at the bottom of the screen. Nope. I just looked. Open your eyes, Matt.
What was your first clue?
I realised as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Look, his brain's been affected already.
Yeah, no, I haven't even started yet. My brain's affected 24/7. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you hasn't even said one word yet, and he's still wrong.
Notice if you took away all the face fungus, he looks particularly gaunt.
That's fun.
Yeah, one of a few of them look like that. You know.
Well, to be fair on him, he is sitting in a very blue room, isn't he? So.
Yeah, but he really does look unhealthy.
Same as that Thompson one. He looks a bit undernourished.
Yep.
A bit like Rob Skiba.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
Rob Skibber? You know, the tall, lanky.
He probably
pale.
doesn't look very good right now.
No,
I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
No, so I forgot he died, didn't he? Yeah.
They seem to be blaming you for something out there in the peanuts, Blue.
What did I do?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's your fault.
What did I do?
Anything.
Blue, yes, Blue, you're a sadist.
Well, I might have
We
hinted.
won't tell anyone that I introduced that video to Blue.
Yeah, but Blue, but I honestly can say Blue posted it.
Yeah. We weren't interested in the video though. We were just interested in the comments.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll get to them after. We'll skip through this and then we'll get to the comments.
We're not going to watch out all 2 hours of 60
No,
minutes.
no,
of it.
no, 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 no,
Bloody
no,
hope
no, 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 no.
I did just add a comment, so you ought to refresh.
Okay.
Hang on.
Terry,
Oh.
Oh
I've got to
yes,
refresh
Matt.
again, do I?
What could I do for
Hold
you
on.
today?
press play, please.
Yes, I could do that.
World where you gotta stay grounded.
You're wrong already. See, look, we can pause it there. So that's it.
Put it on 2 times play.
Okay.
Why is he talking in
I
that
knew
voice?
my boy Flatter Saints was gonna like this one. My boy stays with the shoes off. My hair looking kind of crazy, huh? What up, Familia? Thanks for kicking it. Just another quick stream. We're gonna have the schedule popping up here. Your audio is dual layer, man. Yeah, just so you know. So I recorded that song.
I don't think there's anything
On-
happening yet.
A rap app, and I just like one.
I'm gonna.
There is experimental evidence that relativity
Oh, he's
is
playing Fight the
correct.
Flat Earth.
Unless you can debunk the experiments that demonstrate relativity to be true, then you have no argument for the aether. The aether does not exist.
That means there aren't any cookies, like there isn't any ether. If there's no...
But light is different. It doesn't need a medium.
Ugh, I'm out.
Oh no.
Oh, here we go. Brenda's there. Brenda, you got this.
Where's ether? Just show us that.
Those had the same result. Through different testing methods, ether doesn't exist.
He's decided to go around eulogizing about something that doesn't exist. That's ether. Don't need a...
Einstein literally got rid of any need to have aether in the calculations.
No,
Do you want to just tell me where the wave is? Because your ether depends on it. With a single...
And everything is composed of particles, but
So, pretty funny. Pretty funny. Makes a good point, right? You know, if the mainstream and FTFE and all these goobers, you know, Brenda, MC Tune, Team Skeptic, they all agree the ether doesn't exist, and they straw man what happened to say that. It should make you wonder, right? We should maybe look into it. Like if they have to lie to present that argument,
Who
it
has to
makes you
lie?
wonder. So pretty interesting, and he's got it titled Oakley, FTFE.
So that's
Brenda,
another
MC Tune,
split
Team
within
Skeptic,
the
etc.
flat Earth
versus
community,
Maxwell.
like of many splits that the flat Earth community have.
Yeah, they
You've
do.
got one group think the ether exists and the other group don't, you know, and it's like so many other splits about things. They can none of them can agree on a lot of things.
So that's the difference between flat Earth and not flat Earth.
I was in one of the Discord channels, and Witsit was in there, and I got the tail end of the conversation. But what I could gather, I think it's already happened. This was like a couple of weeks ago. They said they were going to have a debate apparently with some people, and I think Oakley might have been involved, from what I could tell. They were going to have some big debate, but I don't know what channel it was on or anything like that.
Yeah. What, Oakley's going to come out of his echo chamber?
No, probably not. It was probably in his own. I don't know. I really don't know what channel it was going to be on, but apparently there was going to be a debate between the sort of pro-ether and anti-ether brigade in the flat Earth community. Yeah, but at least the anti-ether flat Earthers have got one thing right: it doesn't exist.
Go take your Tylenol. I'm sure that's going to help you. So let's look and see if we can figure out if there's anything to this. There's no way that's real, right? I mean, I have to go to my doctor and get all kinds of pain meds. That's the only way. All right, so let's check it out and see what happens before and after you ground or earth. Simply taking your shoes off and standing on the earth. Let's see what happens.
Today, we're going to see how the earthing or the grounding affects your blood. We're going to take her blood, put it on the slide, microscopic slide, and take a look.
Well, he's not doing his own blood.
Microscopic slide.
As you can see, all her red blood cells are stacked up. This is called a stacked up cell. And see, let's go see if the earthing can help improve a little. They're actually earthing right now, and they're just starting to ground. So we'll see them back in 10 minutes.
Is that all right?
Let's see how the earthing or the grounding has affected her blood. Okay. As you can see, the blood, you know, before and after the earthing is obviously changed. So after
Has
the
it?
earthing,
What's different then?
I don't know. What's different?
Bruh. Did you guys see that?
Bruh.
Did you guys see their blood? I'm going to show it to you where we can put them side by side. Okay. This is her blood beforehand. But you see how it's all like clumped up? Okay. Her blood's all clumped up. Now, of course, again, they'll give you blood thinner, right? Because you don't want like coagulated blood. You don't want real thick blood all like clumped up together for obvious reasons. You want your blood flowing. Again, if you look at the actual thumbnail, that's how your body actually works, electromagnetic field. Your blood circulates via a magnetic field. Okay, that's what your heart is. Circulating.
Oh, God.
No, it's not.
They want to draw a heart and tell you something about it pumping, like it pumps blood out or whatever. No, you have electromagnetic field. And it seems to go about 6 feet out, and they told you not to
force blood out of the chambers, pumping it around the body.
Hold on. So how is my pacemaker affecting this magnetic field then? Because Jesus Christ, it must be going haywire.
You're obviously it's oscillating the magnetic field. That's easy.
You better not walk outside in bare feet, Matt. You might short circuit.
I know, right? I could be grounded, and it might. Who knows what's going to happen? Then it might blow up. Who knows?
Yeah, news
Maybe
research
they're,
topic. Heart attacks caused by fridge magnets.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Maybe
Get
it's
within 6 feet of-
that's why they have a little speaker so you can hear they can hear the heartbeat, and so they put a little speaker on the magnetic field.
Yeah.
That you can hear. That's how their
Man, that's
stethoscope
terrible.
works.
Too, if you get, if you manage to get the polarity of your heart magnet reversed, you'd never be able to reach the refrigerator door. Might be a new weight loss therapy.
Yeah, it could push things out.
Yeah, you can't go near the fridge.
Just can't get there.
No.
I'll be
Each
fine. I've
other
got a
and they can
glass door in
compound
my
just like other
fridge.
magnetic fields if you took Tesla coils or magnets and you put them beside each other. But anyway, back to the point here. You see her blood, it's all clumped together. Okay? She
No,
goes
it's
and
not.
walks on the earth for 10
really?
minutes. 10 minutes, bro.
Why is it all moving in one direction?
Okay?
Which is
Got her
Wasn't
blood.
on the Earth before?
Look at that. It's freely
Didn't
all
you walk on the earth
moving
to get to
around.
the office in the first place?
Look at that, bro. Now
I
it's
mean, when
not
he was
clumped
moving the
together
slide just a
anymore.
minute ago,
After
it was
10
showing the
minutes.
same thing as it did before.
Yeah.
So I found that
What?
to be very interesting.
Well, it's all the blood moving
So
in
if
one
you are
direction.
having
is the thing I
pain,
don't
right, this is
understand.
inflammation. So just like Dr. Sabi told us, all illness comes from acidity, right? Your body needs to be in an alkaline state.
No.
Want to find out grounding will get your body in an alkaline state. And there's tons of science behind this. And it does it like instant. As in, if you step on the ground without your shoes on for 10 seconds, for 1 second, it'll begin to make your body healthier. You have to admit that's insane.
Oh, God.
And they put rubber in your shoes and they call them souls. And then what is your soul? What is your spirit? What's electromagnetism? What actually is it? How are we
Oh,
interconnected with that?
God.
What is light? What is your soul?
Oh, my heart disease is cured. I'm just
They
going to
put
walk
rubber
outside
in the
barefoot.
soles
Yes!
of your
Done.
shoes. And then
See you later,
illness
guys.
gets
I'm
shot
going
through the
to
roof.
You'll save money on
Put my
shoes,
shoes on.
Matt.
And they'll give you
Yeah.
everything in the world. All right, anyway. So I want to show you guys another little video. And I'm encouraging you, if you have pain,
I'm
back
cured.
pain,
I'm cured.
because I can say that the sand on the beach or on the grass in our RV park where we were, oftentimes I couldn't. We were just constantly in cities on concrete, and like it was terrible. I was constantly wearing
How does
shoes
sand
on
get
concrete.
I thought
We
that'd
would get
be,
somewhere, could walk around, dude. I would literally
So-
begin to feel better. Like my bodies would loosen up, my pain would
Do
start
you
to
feel
go
better
away.
if you've got a wooden floor?
So if you have
I was just
pain,
thinking of the
over a
word,
concrete
the
floor?
word dielectric. Is that the word?
Electric, yeah.
Dielectric.
It's a word.
That's a,
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
is that
word.
the
Whether
right
it's the
for-
word or not is another thing.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to
that's
think of the word
misused
for
quite a lot.
I was
No,
trying to think
no. Bird is the word.
Oh, bird's the word.
Bird is the word,
If
yeah.
it's something that's not conductive. Materials that's not conductive. That's the word. I
Yeah,
was
that'd be a
What
dielectric.
follows,
Yeah.
or insulators, or
Otherwise known as an
dielectrics.
insulator, yeah.
Right.
So what you're walking on, yeah, I could understand the soil, but sand?
Phew, stuff that I'm walking on sunshine.
So materials like concrete should be really good because that's pretty much just all earth.
Hmm.
Well, it's
Oh,
from
which
the
it
earth.
ought to be in great shape then. Cell floors are normally made out of concrete.
Yeah, and
So what? My all of my downstairs is all wooden flooring though. If I walk around in
that'd
bare
be good.
feet, which I often do, does that count?
No, wood's not
well, it's
conductive.
from earthen.
No, it has to be. It has to be the earth. Does it?
It has to be soil, yeah,
dirt.
dirt, yeah.
It has to be dirt
Or concrete.
Dirt.
or
No,
concrete.
he said grass and sand. So
Oh, there's
Grass.
plenty of concrete outside. I can walk around because I live in a town, so you know.
yeah, so concrete
cool.
must be good because it's from the earth. Yeah.
What about tarmac? Like,
Well,
No,
made
that's
of-
a brand name.
That's got aggregate in it, whatever they call it.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that could count. Couldn't it?
So does concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm cured. That's it.
What
I'm done.
about
I'm
water?
gonna walk around in bare feet. Can you walk on water? Can you, Terry? Can you? Can you? Can you walk on water?
I can. You just got to freeze it first.
That doesn't count. Liquid water. Come on.
Oh, now you're splitting hairs.
No.
Yeah.
That's cheating. Freezing it's cheating.
Still water.
Maybe that's what Jesus did. It was a trick. It was frozen
Yeah,
water.
froze it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't have very good words back then, so they probably just called it water because it was, even though it was frozen.
You have now if you're on blood thinners, not medical advice.
Yeah, it should be a
Not
disclaimer.
medical advice. YouTube.
There should be a disclaimer. No medical advice here is to be taken seriously.
Start to kind of wean
So if you
thinning
walk
of
around
blood
on,
when it's too
if you
clogged.
walk around on the earth in bare feet, you risk getting a nematode infection called strongyloides.
Nice.
Ooh, that sounds nasty.
That sounds healthy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Up, then, you know, a bunch of synthetic medicine that's literally got tons of side effects. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys this other video. Check it out.
Happens to your blood when you take your shoes off and start grounding.
God.
Grounding. If you recall how we had everybody come up here and we did the 4 or 5 folks that went and got grounded, they had the pain, and we're gonna look at their blood. You guys want to check this out? So this is before and after grounding. So this is subject one of the folks who was in our audience right here. That's their blood before. This is 45 minutes later. Let's
Look
go to
at
the
that,
next
bro.
one here.
How do we
See
know?
what's happening. Look at it. See, there we have the agglutinated blood, the coagulated blood. There's the free-form electrostatically charged blood. Let's go to subject 3.
Where's their independent variable and all that sort of stuff?
Look
Why
at
did they
that.
just call that glutenated?
Grounded blood again.
Yeah,
45
glutenated
minutes
blood. I've
later.
never heard of that.
Subject 4. Look at that.
Bruh.
We're electrical creatures way before we're chemical creatures.
Oh, and this guy's getting sucked into all of it because it's in the internet. It must be true.
It's a very good question.
Couldn't possibly be fake.
But it's on TikTok.
Load up on electricity.
Yeah, it must be true
as
on
a
TikTok.
reservoir
Yeah, everything
and
on
hold
TikTok's
it.
true.
But we're learning more about that. That is the subject. Now, what's interesting about this grounding business is that you hold the electricity in the Chinese meridian points, and the #1 reservoir of this electricity in your whole body is actually your thyroid.
Bruh.
In your thyroid?
You guys got to admit
Bruh.
it. That's very crazy, right? And so, as we
Bruh.
have been discussing what exactly is electricity,
Yeah, you got to throw a bra in every now and again.
this is why it's insane
gotta-
to me that
bruh.
anyone that has discovered that they were lied to about something as massive as the very nature of where they live would ever be trying to stop conversations about stuff like electricity, right? And so you ask people about electricity, and they don't know anything about it. You know what they do? They go over to Google,
This is what happens to
and
your
then they're
blood
like,
when you
okay, this is what electricity is. Oh, it's a change of an electron. Electron's a negative charge. They don't know anything about it. Okay, and that is on purpose. And I've been
Neither do
getting
you.
flack for 2 years now, telling people that everything's electrostatic. Now, think about it like
Clearly
this.
it's not.
You got animals running around in the wild everywhere, right? Now, these animals that are outside in nature, running around the wild, they don't get cancer. They don't get heart
they do.
disease.
They do.
Now,
They
let's
do.
think about the animals, the
do.
pets that we have in our house
Yeah.
that never leave indoors.
Look what happened to the Tasmanian
Over
devil.
half of them die with cancer, just like
Yeah.
humans. Isn't
And
that
the
interesting?
koala.
Now, see if you can find any illness or any disease that doesn't have inflammation involved. See if you can find any illness where the subject doesn't have mucus, acidity, and inflammation. Now, if they could have taught you, there are 3 things. Again,
But they're
Don't be lying. This
symptoms.
is
They're
not medical
not.
advice.
Symptoms.
That's
They're
not.
gonna
That's
tell you
not
there
the
are 3
actual
primary
root of the cause of
issues
your illness.
with health
Yeah.
that need to be addressed. You would have
They're
lived in
just
a
common
different world.
symptoms for a lot of illnesses, but not all illnesses
Isn't
would
that
have
interesting?
this.
The tiny captain
So-
saying he doesn't know the difference between electromagnetic,
When I went around
electrostatic,
telling
and
everyone, look,
electrocurrent.
bro, everything's electric,
I
bro.
can tell you that. I can tell you that leukemia doesn't cause inflammation.
No, a lot of cancers don't cause inflammation.
Everything. And you can't name anything that's not electric. An honest person would think there's
That's the claim. Name something that's not electric.
Magnetism.
Gravity.
Inert substances. are
Is
not
this
electric.
is this piece of paper I'm holding electric? I could have a static charge, I guess.
Well, you can put a static charge into paper.
Yeah, you can, but it's not. It's not electric though, doesn't
No.
it? It doesn't produce an electric current. You know, I'm not going to connect it to something and then it'll light up a light bulb or an LED or something. You know, it's not going to happen with this piece of paper.
there's no way that's true, right?
What's Blue saying? I've got to read his comment. Got to go back.
Just down below. No.
In college, I worked.
Oh no, in the college.
In the
Yeah,
clinical
go.
labs in hematology for a year or so. I've done many thousands of. I don't know what CBCs is. This is
Complete blood count.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what those clowns are showing is not how it's done. Not even close.
I don't even know how they got that picture.
I still
I
want to
can't
know
imagine
why.
trying to get it.
And
You,
I don't
you
know.
certainly
you
don't
can-
plop a drop of blood on a slide and shove it under a microscope. You aren't going to see shit.
I still want to know why the cells are all moving in the same direction.
Yeah, I was wondering about
Well,
that.
what I
Why
wanna-
they're moving
what-
at all.
What I really want to know is why is all that background crap
Yeah.
stationary? And that would normally be stuff you would see like platelets and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see that in the blood, but it moves around just like the damn cells do.
Yeah.
Why was that all stationary?
What if we?
I don't understand.
What if we Googled something like blood under a microscope or something and see what we would get?
Well, I mean, I looked at blood under a microscope at school, and I don't remember it being like that. Or it wasn't
No.
moving, that's for sure.
We'll have a
We
look.
couldn't quite see the same detail, but it certainly wasn't moving.
Well, you don't do it that way anyway. You don't look at liquid blood samples
Huh.
under the microscope.
Right.
You do put a small drop of blood on a slide, and then you do what's called a feathered edge.
Hmm.
Drag another slide across the top of it, and make a little feathered edge where it thins out to just one layer of cells. And then there's a stain that you use called Wright stain, which will dye all the red cells.
Yeah. A darker
Which will
purple.
dye all the white cells. I'm sorry.
Mm.
You don't even look at the red cells under the microscope normally.
Yeah. That's.
Well, I just
Blood
googled
smear.
blood seen under a microscope. So is that?
Blood under microscope.
And you
blood.
got different. Got red, leukemia, smear. The smear is the one you're talking about, Blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 That's the smear one.
Because when you do a smear, you get a nice count like that.
Yeah, what
Well-
you've done is you've added a little bit of alcohol to it to start with, which causes all the red cells to explode. So you don't see the red cells, you only see the white ones.
But they certainly wouldn't be moving, though, would they?
Shit, no.
No.
Because how would you do a
dry
blood
when
count?
you look at it?
How'd you going to do a blood count if they're all moving?
Yeah.
Well, through a thing called a Coulter counter.
No,
They
but I mean, if
literally
they're
do-
moving.
They literally
There you
do
go.
that.
Yeah.
It's a little machine. And they had those things 50 years ago when I was doing it, or more than 50. You put a diluted sample of the blood, and it counts. It literally counts the cells going through a little gizmo. I don't know how exactly it works, but
yeah, you get a white blood cell count and a red blood cell count.
Yeah.
Well, most people don't use the red blood, but because my son had leukemia, we used to count all that.
Yeah, well, you'll get red cell counts of like 4.5 million. You'll get white cell counts of a couple of thousand.
Well, if you're healthy.
Yeah, right. And then the white cell analysis is a thing called a differential. Because there's like, I don't know, 15, 17, some number of different sorts of white blood cells. I can't remember.
Coagulated blood is not just grouping of red blood cells. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Absolutely.
Also, you do a smear of blood to look for RBC stacking.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna come down here to the electron. I do encourage people to look into this. It's important right here. I saw someone ask me if I believe in electrons in the chat. So this is why I put this in the presentation. I really don't know why people would think that they're debating my position or something, and they know I'm wrong, and they're ready to rebut my position if they haven't actually even heard the argument I made yet, or they're just hearing it through other people. Seems wild to me, but anyway. Disclaimer, this is not as if to claim that the phenomena referred to as the atom is not a real phenomena. The proper defining of atomic theory is established to elucidate the presupposition that everything is comprised of particles. It is not the phenomena that is in contention. Rather, the interpretation, atomism in its purest form, is materialism. Now let's go to the electron. View from current slide. The electron. As previously covered, the atom, let me take this little thing off here. As previously covered, the atom has never been directly observed and is claimed to be 99.99999% empty space. Now, they will now claim, well, we just kind of teach that in younger school.
No.
Well, I think we've seen
the atom
that.
has been directly observed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see an atom.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Isn't that the smallest machine was made out of moving the atoms around to make a little motor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In education and textbooks, and it's technically not 99.9999% empty space because, well, the electron is a cloud and is simultaneously in different positions at once, and we can never actually find it. So in that sense, when you have different electrons within an atom, it fills up majority of it because, well, it could be in millions of different places at the same time. This is what they actually claim. Okay, well, that means if it's actually, once you spot it, it's right there.
No. That's not what they think. It's not that they think that it's in different positions simultaneously. It's that the model says that the only way we can describe it is as a probability distribution. That doesn't mean that it's in all those places simultaneously at the same time. It's just that that's where it's likely to be at any particular time. Okay? So no one in science thinks that it's going to be in multiple places simultaneously. That's not the model.
They claim is once you can find it, which they claim you really never can find the electron, by the way, just an area that it might be, and then you measure charge. Okay. So when you do find it, well, then if it's right there, once you find it, then it's 99.9% empty space around it. This is what they actually claim. Okay. So this is what they claim the electron is. The electron is speculated to be about 100 million times smaller than the atom. In fact, it is frequently claimed electrons have no size. Rather, are point particles that have no specific shape nor volume. However, it is simultaneously claimed that the electron is matter. J.J. Thomson is accredited with the discovery of the electron using cathode ray tubes, allegedly establishing that all...
I don't think so. Do you want to expand on that, Paul?
Not really. But,
oh, okay.
no, but they do set a size limit on the electron. I think the current knowledge is that it's not actually a point particle.
Atoms contain tiny.
So it is matter then. So it is matter. We can safely say it is matter of some sort.
Well, yes. I mean, in the sense that all matter can be described as what matter as a wave or a particle. You know.
Right.
So we've seen both aspects of the electron, both as a particle and as a wave, and we use both of those properties in certain devices. So, go figure. Both of those aspects of the electron have been experimentally verified.
Yeah. And they have seen electrons, haven't they? In the sense of been in a film.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Google says that
Negatively charged subatomic particles. The electron is claimed to be a charge-carrying particle, like Santa Claus carrying his bag of electrons, like a little car with a bunch of clowns in it, just jumping out. A charge-carrying particle, a little particle that carries charge. Okay, what it claims. Now, there is no such thing as positive and negative charge in reality. There is only charge and discharge. This is, once again, a conceptual convention for the purpose of quantification.
Come again?
No.
I wish there was subtitles
Charge
on
and
this.
discharge are terms that describe the charge and discharge of charged particles.
Yeah, it's a process, not an actual thing, isn't
right.
it?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
There's only charge or discharge.
He's getting his verbs and his nouns confused.
Yeah.
Obvious reasons, right? If something's charging and discharging, how could you quantify discharge? You'd have to put a negative sign there. Okay. That
Right?
I mean, discharge and charge come together, right? Because it's like compressing and expanding.
No.
So there's no such thing as negative charge, is what you're saying, isn't it?
Discharge, both discharging and charging are literally just the flow of electric charge.
Yeah.
Whether it be positive or negative.
Yeah.
It's charging or it's discharging. There's only one thing called charge. There aren't two different types of charges called negative and positive. It's absolutely
Oh, you
ridiculous.
Yeah.
My God.
Whack,
what
whack.
a knucklehead. Jesus. Yeah, it's like it's like heat. There isn't any such thing as heat. Heat is just a movement.
Yeah.
My God.
To think that there is.
Okay, Woods.
And ironically, just like when you tell people, did you know the Earth's actually not a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles?
No, here we
On
go.
a 66.6 degree tilted axis, wobbling, spinning around 1,037 miles per hour east of the equator, going around the sun, 66,600 miles per hour as it carries it through space, 500,000 miles per hour as the galaxy goes 1.3 million miles per hour, and the stars never change. And you're like, you're crazy. You don't think the Earth's a ball that spins in a vacuum of ever-expanding emptiness? It's the same thing. Whenever you tell them there's no such thing as charge or discharge, or as positive or negative charge, they're like, you're so stupid. Okay, no, actually, you're stupid. It is claimed that until someone or something actually attempts to look at it, the precise location of the electron is uncertain. This is mainstream quantum mechanics, dude. The uncertainty of location is part of the model for the electron, and one can only calculate the probability of finding an electron within a certain space. So it's called a distribution probability, right? And they claim it's a cloud of density charge, and then we have a distribution probability equation. I'm not going to go all the way through this, of course. I'm explaining to you about the electron. Electrons are claimed to be clouds of negative charge density that shift and move with time. Quantum mechanics claims that an electron can be viewed as a stationary wave. A stationary wave, even though it's never stationary. Or cloud of negative charge. The reification of these abstractions allow for a calculative description of the amount of negative charge at any given point within this cloud. Now I'm going to read a couple quotes, and this is why I wanted to pull this up, because I want you to combine this understanding with what's going on when you walk on the earth, okay? To account for its apparently small mass, science conceives of the electron as a hollow sphere, a sort of bubble. Such a bubble could exist in a medium as a gas or liquid because its internal pressure is not altered by deformation. But if, as supposed, the internal pressure of an electron is due to the repulsion of electric masses, the slightest conceivable deformation must result in the destruction of the bubble, just to mention another improbability, Nikola Tesla. My ideas regarding the electron are at variance with those generally entertained. I hold that it is a relatively large entity carrying a surface charge and is not an elementary unit or particle. When the electron leaves an electrode of high potential and in a high vacuum, it carries an electrostatic charge many times greater than normal. Nikola Tesla. Now, J.J. Thomson, the person that was accredited with discovering the electron. Again, because when you dare,
Anyone got any cherries? I'd like to pick a
question
few.
the electron, people will make fun of you. It's just like when you dare question the earth. J.J. Thomson originally stated that the electron is nothing more than the terminal end of one unit line of dielectric induction. Dielectrics interchangeable with electrostatics. It's a gap in an electrostatic field. Unfortunately, to a large extent, in dealing with dielectric fields, the prehistoric conception of the electrostatic charge, the electron, on the conductor still exists, and by its use destroys the analogy between the two components of the electric field, the magnetic and the dielectric.
Field?
This makes this consideration of dielectric fields unnecessarily complicated. Charles Produce Steinmetz.
No such thing as a dielectric field.
Well, I like the term prehistoric. So does that mean before we had written history, they had an idea about the electron?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can go back 100 years in science and say, hey, they were wrong about this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of the times the flirters do that. They'll go back in history and quote something or read something out and say, well, this is wrong.
Or they'll go back in history and say Nikola Tesla was a genius, therefore he must be right about everything. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas
actually
Nikola Tesla was
wasn't
actually
so great.
wrong. He was
About a lot.
actually wrong about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's like the flirters who point out how the Catholic Church in 2000 BC was able to...
I mean, Einstein was wrong about stuff. Not physics,
absolutely.
but he was wrong about medicine and things like that, wasn't he?
He was wrong about a lot of physics as well, man.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was.
Discharges, waves, and impulses. This is so gravy. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Much love, Isabella Live 2.0. Okay, so this guy was an absolute genius, Charles Pro Steinmetz. Now, just really take this in, right? You got people in the chat that are going to be talking like you're stupid because you're daring to question this. And they're acting like they're so much smarter than these people, right? Dude, this guy was such a genius that even talking to him for a few minutes would make your head hurt.
Bruh.
This dude was arguably smarter than Nikola Tesla. He perfected the AC generator. He perfected many inventions.
So we saying
you probably never heard of him, though.
Yeah.
Okay, now he wrote electrical discharges, waves, and impulses. To describe an electron as a negatively charged body is equivalent to saying that it is an expanding, contracting particle. Now, of course, quantum has no problem making contradictory claims, right? They claim a wave-particle duality, claiming there's an inherent contradiction. There are no dualities in nature. Something can't simultaneously be opposing things. The fact that people
They're not opposing things.
have been attacking me and those of us exploring the ether while not absorbing the implication of their critique, which is that they are siding with atomism. That is the only two fundamental proposals of frameworks to ever interpret the natural world, by the way. Oh, no, false dichotomy. What's the third option? Oh, you're not going to make a claim. Oh, so basically you don't understand anything in the world and you want us to come sit with you on the bench and not understand anything. I bet that's going to get flat earthers a good look. It's almost like you're set up. Seriously. Anyway. Okay. It's equivalent to describing or to saying that it is an expanding, contracting particle. So it's expanding and contracting at the same time, which is obviously ridiculous, right? There is no such condition in nature as a negative charge,
Yeah,
nor are
that's a
there negatively
ridiculous.
charged
It's a
particles.
ridiculous way to
Charge and
describe an
discharge.
electron. I mean, I've never heard of anyone describing an electron as an expanding, contracting particle. It sounds very much like a straw man's just been made, and now he's laughing at his own straw man.
Are opposite conditions as filling and emptying, or compressing, and I can't read it. Compressing and expanding, I'm assuming. That was Walter Russell, another genius. Just another genius. What does he know, right? These people in the chat that can barely remember the atomic model given to them in the form of illustrations and cartoons are definitely smarter than us because they're trying to conform to consensus. I talked to a quantum physicist the other day, said there's definitely an ether, and we just actually reify subatomic particles. We never actually can verify them. It's just a model we use for quantification. Once I asked him point blank, he admitted that both those things. Uh-oh. The scientists who appeal to agree. Thomson developed the ether atom, ideas of Michael Faraday, into his electronic corpuscle. This indivisible unit. One corpuscle terminates on one Faraday tube of force. This quantifies as one coulomb. This corpuscle is not an electron. It is a constituent of what today is known incorrectly as an electron. Thomson relates 1,000 corpuscles per electron. In this view, that taken by W. Crookes, J.J. Thomson, and Nikola Tesla, the cathode ray is not electrons, but in actuality, corpuscles of the ether, little condensation, pressure mediations to singular spots, singular areas, pressure mediates and creates certain little areas. This is Eric Dollard. This will be the last quote, I think. There is no rest mass to an electron.
Scientists.
Yeah, who?
Yeah. Why did they have to go back and quote people from hundreds of years ago?
Yeah.
Why don't they ever quote a modern scientist as to the nature of reality these days?
Electron. It is given here, the electron is no more than a broken loose holdfast under the grip of the tensions within the dielectric lines of force. They are the broken ends of the split in half package of spaghetti. Obviously, this reasoning is not welcome in the realm of Einstein's theory of relativity. Oh, we got a couple more. Electrons.
Dielectric lines of force.
Yeah. Sounds pretty Ken Wheelerish to me.
Yeah.
As a separate, distinct entity doesn't really exist. They are merely bumps in something called a field. Dr. Steve Biller. In summary, electrons are not particles, objects, or material. The phenomena labeled the electron is simply the dynamic principle of discharge. In summary, the electron is a conceptual abstraction required to be consistent with the framework of the theory of relativity and has no actual basis in reality. It is a model. More accurately defined, the electron is nothing more than the terminal end of one unit line of dielectric induction or a gap within the lines of a field, a dielectric field or electrostatic field. These gaps within the field are isolated
very much
and
like
reified.
a Ken Wheeler quote.
It does.
I'll almost guarantee you that you'll find that in a Ken Wheeler video.
Yeah.
Comprised of material for quantification purposes. However, you cannot quantify the immaterial. You can only create a model and attempt to do so. Okay, there's that. Now, I just wanted to cover that. And this is what's so crazy, right? I did this a while back. I did this presentation a while back. We've had people taking their victory lap. No one's rebutting my presentation, though. I've been getting emails and getting messages about how stupid my presentation is, about how children, okay, like just treat them like children. Understand that they're like children, and so it doesn't matter. Like they're not capable of understanding. It's kind of how you tell the child, like, oh yeah, that's right, reindeers landed on the roof, right? Like whatever, right? They're children, okay. So they don't. Now, if you can just think of something looking at water, you can do the same thing with rice. I have people that have done it. I know people firsthand. I know they're not lying that do this, right? So if you can just think with intention and affect rice or water, what is going on there? I want you to grasp this and think about this, okay? Because it's going to really all tie together if you guys follow me. You just stay with me.
This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Uchi Spring water. The This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important.
Oh, God.
I saw someone say that I lost him with this. Yeah, it sounds crazy. That's why you should put your cognitive aside and watch a 5-minute video. Watch a 5-minute video. And this is protected under the Fair Use
So they're not
Act.
ice crystals
I'm
then?
critiquing it, pausing it, presenting it within my own information.
This photo
in fact, I
is
know one
from
thing
the-
you didn't say in this video is that, in fact, that all energy comes from the pure potential non-manifest counter space version of that modality of that, which is the ether at rest. Dielectricity is nothing more than the ether under strain, also known as electrostatics. Magnetism is ether
Blah, 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 blah,
Therefore,
blah.
this is now officially protected under Fair Use Act. Thank you.
The Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope
so they're ice crystals,
that has
not water.
photographic
How
capabilities.
is that? How is that in any way a molecular change? What do they mean by molecular change?
And does he get the same shape every time he freezes each drop?
I doubt it.
Or
And how
even
does the
similar
shape
shapes?
show a molecular change?
His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water.
Wow.
Yeah, when you make the environment really, really
This
cold.
photo
it
is from the fountain in Lourdes, France. This
And I
photo
bet you if you showed 10 successive freezings of crystals, they'd all be different, even from the same location.
Right.
Yeah.
contaminated water from the Yodo River in Japan.
Look at that, bro.
That freeze it.
In
Yeah,
this
but freeze
photo,
it.
we
You
can
haven't freezed
compare
it
the
yet.
contaminated water with clean stream water. Look at the difference.
But one's frozen, the other's not.
Bro.
Mr. Emoto decided to see what effects music would have upon the
Oh.
structure of water. He placed distilled
Imagine
water
that.
between
Frozen
two
feces
speakers
don't
for
look
several
like water drops.
Yeah, contaminated water doesn't freeze the same.
Notice he's not saying liquid water or frozen water. He's just saying water all
Yeah.
the time.
hours
He's
while
not. He's not
playing
defining.
different music and then photographing the crystals that formed after the water was frozen.
Yeah.
This photo is of water being exposed to Beethoven's Pastorale.
No, this dude is really slow and kind of dry. So I
Did you ask the water first? Or
Oh
did
no!
you-
So if you sing to your ice cubes, it's going to change.
I'll go and do
What
that,
were the
Matt.
tone controls set? What were the tone controls set to?
So he froze vibrating water and got a different shape.
Yeah, because he played music to it.
You get happy water.
Yay!
Oh dear.
Party water.
2 more minutes. But Latter-day Saints said it perfectly in the chat. Like I said, I've been struck for this video before, so I'm really pausing a lot. But the whole point is that if you understood the things that I'm trying to break down to you, it makes perfect sense. It's intuitive. You can apply Occam's
No, it
razor.
doesn't.
Occam's razor. It's common
To you,
sense.
it
It's
might.
rational. It's
You got a
logical,
different definition of
So when you can
intuitive.
start to understand these things,
Yeah.
you have a lot of power. They don't want you to understand the way that the world works. So what they have done is just break it up in indivisible, bombarding particles going everywhere.
What's
You
it?
must be a PhD particle physicist to ever
What's it?
understand it. But guess what? I talk to people that are particle physicists. I talk to quantum physicists. They don't understand it either. They don't understand it either.
Nah.
You know who definitely doesn't understand it? The anti-flat earther globe
Jesus.
zealots that are just parroting whatever science says on the internet, but they don't understand it either. The people that actually study it don't understand it. Admittedly, that's the whole thing about quantum mechanics, is that no one understands it. Okay? I want you to
Pointing
really
at
think about what
something
I'm
and
saying to you,
screaming,
because
"Holy shit!"
it's
is
important
not
to understand
understanding it.
the
What's it-
actual framework that we need to adopt to apply to the world to begin to have some type of coherency and understanding. And I promise you that if all you can say is, I don't know what magnetism is, I don't know what electrostatics is, I don't know what electricity is, I don't know what light is, light's a particle and a wave, an inherent contradiction, simultaneously different things. you have no way,
They're
in
not
any way,
contradictions, man.
you have a position in which you can critique others. Okay? All right, let's go on.
This photo is the effect of Bach's air for the G string on the water. This photo is water exposed to
Did you say
Chopin by a
G-string?
well song.
Are we watching the right video?
Okay, we can see
Yes.
obviously more peaceful music.
It's a piece of
Being
music.
exposed
Yeah.
to the Kawachi folk dance.
This is a dance.
This photo shows the effect of heavy metal music
Wow.
upon the water.
Repeatability is a very important part of science. Yeah, this can be repeated a million times, buddy. You're just scared. I know. It's
Here
okay.
now we can
It's
compare
okay.
the
Sure, you're
effects
just
of
saying that.
healing versus heavy
You're just
metal
saying
music.
it.
Look at the difference.
And
here.
what happens to the water to see how thoughts and words affected the formation of untreated distilled water crystals.
This is
By typing words onto paper and then taping this paper onto glass
dear.
bottles overnight.
Talk nicely to your
This
ice,
photo shows
and
the effects of the
we'll
words
be happy.
thank you.
It will change.
Bro, think about that.
This next photo shows the effects of the words love and appreciation. Photo
I want to
shows
see the
effects
repeatability. Come on.
Oh dear.
So how does it change if you're really nasty
I'll
to
kill
to your water? What does it do then?
Well, if you tell your water off,
very different
Yeah.
geometric
Yeah,
If you
forms
call it
being
names, you'd be horrible
Yeah.
to it.
with the intention
Be really negative.
included
How does that
toxic
change it?
Water from the Fujiwara Dam. Wara Dam, after a Buddhist monk had offered a prayer over it. Prayer, that sound coupled with intention, seems to have an extraordinary ability of restoring water to its natural, harmonious, geometric symmetry.
no wonder his brain's
Alright, boom, I
fried
just wanted
watching
to say
stuff
that. So-
like this.
Oh,
There you go. Have you confirmed that this is true? I haven't done it myself. I do plan on doing it. I know people that have done it, and I know people that have also
Do it
done it with
himself,
rice.
is
I know.
he?
Do you have any?
Okay, what's the next?
Contrast of a ferrocell cell image to be able to see that. Now it's invisible, it's not material, right? Now all these people that are talking so crazy in the chat or whatever, right? Their side, because they just blindly appeal to whatever consensus is, right? Let's see what their side says is going on with magnetism. Because I think it's so funny now, even like FED, the people are attacking me. They will not answer what is magnetism. The magnetic field between magnetic dipoles. It is caused by the exchange of virtual photons. Watch this. Electrostatics. Electrostatic attraction and repulsion is a relatively short-range
you can go
force
into
that is a consequence
Wikipedia.
of the exchange of virtual photons. Virtual photons, bro. Now, this is top-tier science,
there it
bro.
is.
This is what they
Right.
say in 2022. Okay? So that's the only two options. You got atomism, everything's made of particles, and then you got ether. There's something that's immaterial, something that's metaphysical, interacting with the material world. There aren't any other options. You got rope theory, which is also claiming that it's matter. And also, there's different versions of rope hypothesis that invokes particles. It's not well accepted. It seemingly is better than atomism, ironically. Okay, so it's not a false dichotomy to say atomism or ether. They're not unrelated. It's not like comparing two different things. They're both fundamental frameworks at the onset. It's very important to understand this.
Good point, Judy.
And now, again, the people that are trolling the chat, they can't answer these questions. You ask them, what is magnetism? What comprises a magnetic field? Now, you might be curious, why would they ever say something so ridiculous, right? That magnetism is the exchange of virtual photons, right? And come back over here. Copy. So what is a virtual particle? What is a virtual photon? And this has got to be like, you got to understand, it's got to be like the most important thing ever, right? Because magnetism is in everything. It's just incoherent or coherent. It's hands down the most important thing in the world. And how is it that in 2022, all these really smart scientists don't understand what it is? Let's figure out exactly what a virtual photon is, a virtual particle. Now, there's someone called Richard Feynman. And this is all relevant to grounding again, because I want you to understand what's going on. You're getting in tune with this natural resonance that's all around you that you don't perceive, you can't touch, and you're getting in tune with that resonance. And the earth is much closer to a state of equilibrium than the chaotic happenstance within your physical world of GMOs and rubber soles and fluoride. Okay? That's the point. That's why it's so good for our bodies, certainly in the 21st century, because the earth, you can't destroy the earth, bro. And it seems to.
Oh, we're going to have to do a big jump. See where he gets to.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Talks like a fucking teenager, excuse my French.
Please go to Flat Earth Tests
bah.
and give him a sub, just because I know this dude puts out a lot of videos. So he's putting in work, you know what I'm saying?
And
I
every
think it's always
fucking
good to
one of 'em are
support people
wrong,
putting in
too.
work. He's got good videos on here. And yeah, I think you guys should help a brother out. Now we're going to play this. It's very funny. Really elucidates the whole situation. And it's not much about anything personal. It's just like, think about the idea. This is the guy who will claim that you can prove that the Earth's a ball by looking at
Horizontal
curvature
Earth is-
from a plane, when that's just objectively dumb. Same person that will tell you there would be no horizon on a flat Earth, which is objectively dumb. The same person that says when you can see further because you get higher, or when you stand up, that proves the Earth's a ball. It's very, very, very dumb, right? So the fact that they will lie about those kind of things, I mean, just think about it. They'll lie to toe the party line no matter what it is, whatever Google says. And this is what they have to say about the ether, because the ether debunks that the Earth is rotating and that the Earth is revolving around the sun. So they must deny it, and it was thrown out for relativity a long time ago. And they're crawling around talking about quantum fluid and quantum foam, having been able to explain things, virtual photons, because they can't acknowledge the ether. We can. We don't believe in the nonsense that there's a ball revolving around it. I'm gonna drop his channel in chat. That's a good idea.
They knew the Earth.
All right, so I'm dropping his channel in the chat. All right, so you guys want to check this out? It's just a minute, 28 seconds long. And then he's got it narrated, so just check it out, read it on the screen. I think this one part is super funny too, when Brenda comes on and I'm like, oh, I'm out. I think that's super funny for some reason. All right.
They knew the Earth was moving. So that would mean that they would have to give a special explanation, there would have to be something that was special about the ether that made it stay stationary to the Earth, even when the Earth was on the other side of the sun in orbit, going in the complete opposite direction. That's why they abandoned the ether, because there was no group of scientists that thought the Earth was in one fucking place and the ether was too. The only way for that to work would have been for the ether to be in orbit around the sun as well.
There is experimental evidence that relativity is correct. Unless you can debunk the experiments that demonstrate relativity to be true, then you have no argument for the aether. The aether does not exist.
That means there aren't any cookies, like there isn't any ether. If there's no...
But light is different. It doesn't need a medium.
Ugh, I'm out.
Oh, no. Oh, here we go. Brenda's there. Brenda, you got this.
Where's ether? Just show us that.
Those had the same result. Through different testing methods, ether doesn't exist.
He's decided to go around eulogizing about something that doesn't exist. That's ether. Don't need a...
Einstein literally got rid of any need to have ether in the calculations.
Do you want to just tell me where the wave is? Because your ether depends on it for the single...
And everything is composed of particles, but...
So very funny, pretty funny compilation there. Shout out to my boy Brian. So yeah, cool stuff in a world where no one knows what the world is. I think you lost somewhere in space, probably twirled in. Hey. So yeah, I want to play the clones trailer again. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna come chat with you guys. Our lives and future possibilities have really gotten better since your long-awaited residency, bro. Really appreciate you, your resolve and heart. Much love, B. How dare you? I'm in the house, man. You don't think I'm barefoot, bro? Come on. Of course, you got to walk on the earth to really get the benefit. So anyway, in conclusion, tonight's stream was called Grounded. By the way, shout out to my homie Grounded Extracts. Go check him out. I think it's groundedextracts.com, but I don't know for sure. My dude's got awesome supplements, natural supplements. All right, so do you go barefoot outside now? Yeah, I mean I have for a while. I don't walk around major cities on concrete with needles and trash and all that nonsense and piss on the ground without shoes on. That's why living in major cities I think sucks. But yeah, anytime that I'm with grass or anything, I wear my little flip flops, kick them off, walk around barefoot. That's right. All right. So anyway, and again, it shows that you can show that your blood starts to become less clogged and more. You have a more alkaline structure and state of your body whenever you walk around grounded. They say your body gets flooded with electrons. We know electrons are nothing more than subatomic reifications, little conceptual models that aren't real, used for quantification of materialists who need to say everything is comprised of particles. It's nothing more than the dielectric field, gaps within it, resulting in discharge. So you have lines of induction, you have gaps within that. It's discharge. They call that an electron, a charge carrying particle, but we claim it's matter, can't prove it's matter. We just measure the charge and then we have it. It's not anything in and of itself. Virtual photon.
Saying, is this caused by him and Oakley falling out? I believe they had a nasty fallout on Oakley's show recently. Okay. Blood Data is doing everything they can to stop their victims adopting electric universe.
They say that magnetism is the exchange of virtual photons. Truth
I'm
is that
I'm dying
close in
to
the sense
I'm dying
that
to
they
hear him
are.
say Cations. I really am. I hope he says Cations. I really do.
Friday, I got a debate Saturday. So here you go. You can go over to search like witchcraft to
not
me.
reading any questions
Wow.
out of the.
I feel bad if you're being serious. I feel bad for people that are that scared of life. Hopefully you're joking. All right, cool. So appreciate everyone kicking it. And pray. Yeah, absolutely. Pray and fast.
That'll do.
Yeah. I agree with Colin. Press stop, please, Terry. Oh dear.
That's not my job. I only say press play. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
the one thing I caught Fight the Flat Earth there saying was that ether was figured in calculations. No, ether was never in any calculations. There was never any calculations that involved the ether. Ether was just a postulated theory that never really made it anywhere.
Like miasma.
Well, it was predicated on the assumption that light had to act like any kind of mechanical wave, right?
Yeah, had to pass through something.
You needed a medium for the light to pass through, and the ether was that medium. That's what light was waving in, ether.
Yeah. And if you actually if you actually thought about the characteristics that this so-called ether had to have, it was kind of like the magical impossible substance. It had to be transparent. It had to have no viscosity at all, otherwise it would slow down the planets in their orbits. And yet, at the same time, it had to be the most rigid, stiffest material in the universe to transmit light that fast. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
What's next?
I think you should explore some of the comments on that video, Terry.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, not that. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
The comments.
Yeah.
I definitely want to show the comments.
All right.
Only got 26 comments. What's this one? Jonas then calling the FED crew atomist is like calling a anti-flat earthers religion. They totally are, but I'll deny it.
There's a Whitsett fanboy. Great job, Whitsett. God bless you, sir.
Oh, God, yeah.
Makes you sick, doesn't it?
Get your tongue out of his ass.
Yeah.
And another. Thanks, Austin. Good vibes. Positive energy. I feel it, bro. Much love to you, brother.
I feel it, bro.
Bro.
Can you feel me, bro?
Oh, did you know the firmament is the fourth phase of water?
Yeah.
Which is H3O2.
Okay.
Firmament is a fourth phase of water.
Yeah.
Which is H3O2.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What the hell?
Now, normally in phase changes, the stoichiometry doesn't change. You just have as many hydrogens as you have oxygens. But here, for some reason, we're missing a hydrogen.
The fourth phase of water is negatively electrically charged, so if a blob falls, it would fall at speed and slam into the positive atmoplane.
Atmoplane, not atmosphere. Plane.
Yeah,
Atmoplane.
atmoplane.
Yeah.
So a negative slamming into a positive, you would get plasma. Oh right. Okay. A ball of
We
plasma.
don't know why, but yeah.
You need to press the read more on that one, Terry.
Yeah.
Expand it out a bit.
Oh, really?
Oh God, no.
Oh no!
I'll finish.
Matt, you said you were going to read. Matt, did you say?
No, I'm not going to read all that. I just wanted to read that to the end of that sentence. That's all. I'm not reading the rest of that crap.
I'll read it for you if you like.
What? You don't want to read how the SpaceX is going to destroy the Earth?
I don't want you to suffer, Farmer, if you read that.
Oh, I'll read that for you if you like.
Yeah, go on then.
Go on.
Okay, hang on. Let me just make sure my brain's in the right gear.
Take a breath. Take a breath. Deep breath.
Level. Horizontal. Oh, that's nice. Right, okay. Okay. The fourth phase of water is called the exclusion zone, which is easy for short. Oh, that's easy. Reason is, everything other than the water is excluded from the negative part of the water to the positive part, which would be the rest of the water above the firmament, and because of this, it makes the water so clear, it makes the firmament invisible.
That's why we can't see it.
That's why you can't see it, because it's invisible.
That answers a lot of questions.
Get off me show, mate.
Except for the mud. Keep going.
This property of the water means all the mud from the deep would land and rest on the other side of the firmament. So when you have SpaceX creating magnetic frequencies and aiming them at the Earth's magnetic field, which is weakening the field, eventually will collapse the field, causing all the buildup of the mud falls to the Earth, along with shooting stars and meteorites. All the negative water that hasn't mixed with the positive will repel from the negative Earth and stay a certain distance until it loses that repellence, which will then start to fall as heavy rain, causing floods. Stop, fuck me, he doesn't know what punctuation is. This change in mass weight in a short period, causing different pressures in different areas of the tectonic plates. Oh, press something there. Will cause massive volcanoes and earthquakes. I also forgot with the collapse of the field, there would be a lot of positive and negative electrical charge close to the surface of the Earth. This would cause electrical discharge all over the Earth. Don't check my videos out.
No.
No, don't think so.
Mass weight.
I'm just off for a lie down with a damp rag. That's just.
I want to know if the firmament is now invisible, why can't we see this mud in the sky?
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking as well. Where's
does
this mud?
Does anybody remember a comedy program over here called The Fast Show?
Yes.
And they had this Australian program called That's Amazing.
I don't remember that.
And they had a chap come on. He about this famous Australian monster that he'd seen one night. And so he says, well, have you got a photo of it? No, you can't see it. Why not? Because it's invisible. What did it sound like? Well, I don't know, because it was totally silent.
So you can't see it. You can't
and he goes
hear
through all
it.
this, and of course, he just it's the famous line. Get off me show, mate. But that's exactly what I thought of. It's so clear that the firmament is invisible, and that's why you can't see it. Either that, or it's because it's not there.
Not there, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they never explain how it's detectable if you can't see it.
So apparently,
It's not detectable.
Apparently, SpaceX are creating magnetic frequencies and aiming them at the Earth's magnetic field. Apparently,
yes.
According to him. Right. Okay. Better
But
have a
that
word with,
that is just amateur bullshit. I'll tell you that now, because what's coming up is top grade, high level professional bullshit.
Yeah, move down.
Yep.
Yeah, come down. Yeah.
What's Angel?
Yeah, that one.
Ninjing.
Oh yeah, no, don't
You
worry
gotta say.
about him.
Don't worry about that one.
Go
Keep
down
going.
to
Don't
the
worry
next
about that one.
Mandela
Where's the
effect.
reply? Oh, it's not
We're
shown.
in.
No. You need to go down to the next.
There he is, under that one there.
Mandela
The next
effect.
Mandela effect one.
effect.
Yeah.
Do
Do
planes calculate altitude from the ether?
from the ether with the ring
Oh,
laser gyroscope?
No, that's nothing. The replies are a work of art.
Okay, so do planes calculate altitude from the ether with the ring laser gyroscope? Blue Marble
Blue
Science.
Marble Science says yes.
Come on, Blue.
Planes-
Blue's got to read it out because it sounds better with his dulcet tones.
His sultry voice. Yes.
Oh,
Clear,
Blue.
clear your throat, clear your brain, Blue.
Go on, Blue. Go on.
Oh, Lord. Yes, in fact, the plane uses anticyclopic caniculated helical bearings in the lasers that force asymptotic flux resistance to polarize the etheric zero boundary, thus producing a stationary wave pattern in the zero frequency oscillator.
Ah,
That
now it
is
makes sense.
high-
Yeah, it makes
High
sense
class
now.
bullshit right there.
That's
That
just a
cleared
work of
it all
art.
up, Blue. Thanks, Blue. Now we understand what's going on.
That bullshit.
Yeah.
That bullshit
about-
almost makes sense. It's brilliant.
It gets better.
Yeah, but
It's about
come
to get
on.
It's about to get much better. Next
Yeah,
comes some
but-
guy named Kirst with a high IQ.
Yeah, cursed with a high IQ. That's me.
Oh, Paul.
Says, I thought it was the electric capacitive discharge from the inertial thrust retarders, coupled with the etheric toroidal flux that generates a conjugate disruptive vortex in counterspace, allowing a shift in the plane of inertia to be detected, thus giving the altitude in inverse kilometers.
Oh,
That's good.
yeah. I think that's contradicting you, Blue.
Yeah,
That's and then Blue Marble Science replies with,
That's certainly true, except in the limiting case where loop reversal of the caniculated flux produces macro entanglement of the reflection decay of the vortex, which is the primary reason for phase angle straighteners. Which is the primary reason phase angle straighteners are necessary.
"These angle straighteners."
Have you considered that flying the plane in a thunderstorm will risk pseudo-quantum tunneling of trihydrogen dioxide plasmoids, resulting in a disruption of the coaxial dielectric alignment, meaning that the phase angle straighteners will experience retrograde elongation and thus misalignment with the charge neutralizer, thus introducing a hyper-random uncertainty in elevation readings? Huh?
Oh. This is getting really deep. This is now.
Read more. Got to press the read more.
Huh?
Well, this is your
Terry,
reply
press read more.
Oh, press read more.
Yeah, that below. There you go. There you go.
There. Now we have that's This precise anomaly wasn't considered in the original design of the phase angle straighteners, resulting in several attempts at controlled subterranean flight, which with obvious damage to the equipment. However, by providing antipodal dihedral washout in the straightener tips, retrograde elongation is counteracted by the obvious centripetal compression of the vortex linearity, resulting in precise elevation measurements under most conditions. THD plasmoid contamination is still a source of potential poling error when cloud-to-cloud viscosity gradients in thunderstorms exceed the critical limit of 3.4 millifirkins.
Oh, 3.4 is it?
Millie Firkins.
Oh,
Millie Firkins.
I thought it was 3.5. Okay, 3.4 now. Yeah, that's,
No, it's one.
that
Isn't
sounds
it
about
1.1
right.
gigawatts?
Yeah.
Millie Firkins.
Zebulon
Genius,
said,
you two.
Zebulon told me to tell you that these guys are not allowed to listen to Lindsay anymore. Your band, you said.
Oh, you two have got to do that again on somebody else's. You really do. That's genius. That is genius. It really is. I could never write that stuff. I
I
really
think
couldn't.
I think we've started something.
Yeah.
Truth Ned said, "Shh. Oh, Whit over. Is it safe to come back? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd love to see some other replies from some other people on there.
There's only this bloke, no fanfare. I don't know what that is.
I can't come
We've
close to
given them
that.
enough to
Bloody
get them
hell.
going, so they ought to be able to continue from there.
So that subterranean flight must be under the plane, Blue, near the PLA IM plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, control subterranean flight is not recommended.
Yeah.
No.
I'd like to know what phase angle straighteners actually look like, because I might get myself a set for my hair.
Yeah, a lot like hair curlers, yeah.
Can you get one to plug into a USB? Or does it need three-phase power?
Obvious centripetal compression sounds painful.
Antipodal dihedral washout was
I was just looking at that right enough. Antipedal dehydral washout with the straightener tips. I could never write anything like that. I really couldn't. Genius.
Remember, we are talking about planes, as in PLAIN.
Yeah.
How do you determine the high altitude of the planes?
Thus introducing a hyper-random uncertainty in the elevation readings.
Yes, that's right.
Hyper-random uncertainty.
How high are we? I don't know.
I mean, you don't know if you're coming or going.
That's enough of that.
Yeah,
I don't want to give
that's
the
enough of
peanut.
that.
I don't want to give the peanuts a headache. How are we going for time, Paul?
I have no idea. Hey Google, what's the time?
It's 12:39 a.m.
Ooh, it's late for you.
Same here.
Same here. That's a coincidence.
Yeah. What?
How did that work out?
One of these days, Google's going to reply with, "It's too bloody late. Leave me alone."
Hey Google, what's the time? Wow. Don't know if you could hear that one.
No, we couldn't hear it.
It's at 12:40 a.m. So you're 1 minute out.
No,
Oh,
just a
it
minute
was
ago.
a minute ago.
It's the time. It's the time zones will be split down to minutes now. Did you not hear?
Yeah. What's the difference between New South Wales and ACT?
Yeah.
1 minute.
1 minute. We'll have 1 minute time zones now.
How we going? Have you got have you got 10 questions, Paul?
I do, but it's up to you whether you want to do them.
I was going
tonight
to
or
say if we're going to do a short show, we could just split it in half or something.
not. Oh,
Is that you're able to do that?
It's pretty late for you, isn't it, to do a quiz now?
yeah. I'd rather leave it for Saturday.
Okay, we'll postpone the quiz peanuts.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll finish off with a couple of short videos. I've got Turtles Flat Earth Part 1. Anything new? And we'll just grab a Simon. Is there any quickies? Couple of 2-minute ones. Could
Ooh, I
always
like
watch
Timbo's,
Sean Hawkins. How long do they go for?
Really? Do you have to? You know how much I love him, but I'm not sure I could bear that right now.
Anton's got, did gravity change in the last 5 billion years? I'll just grab it for now anyway, just to, so I've got it.
Hello, wonderful person. This is Anton.
Yeah, hello, Anton. Just wait a minute.
Anton.
Hello, Anton.
Just
Trying to
wait a
jump
minute.
in.
Don't say anything.
Easy,
yet, Anton.
Tiger.
While I'm doing this, getting these couple of videos, Matt, could you fill us in on what happened with the Artemis rocket?
Well, they haven't. The current windows or period of windows is closed. That closed on Tuesday. So the next period of open windows is now going to be September the 19th. I think I've got that right. It was 16th or 19th, I believe. So it could be any time in that. They're still problem solving the issue with the leak of the disconnect, trying to problem solve that. I haven't looked at the news today, I must admit, but if they do decide to roll the whole system back to the the big tall building called the VAB, or the Vehicle Assembly Building, we're probably not going to see a launch until October.
Wow.
So that's pretty much that. Yeah. Apart from that, we don't know much else at this stage. So yeah.
And the launch windows to do with the trajectory of their flight.
Yeah, all kinds of different factors actually, all to do with that, and also to do with the ranging and stuff like that. Because what you're doing is you're cutting, you're basically stopping things like flights and obviously out in the ocean of shipping and all that kind of stuff. You're closing down major areas, so they can't close those areas down indefinitely. So that's also a contributing factor as well. So yeah, all kinds of different things because of periods and windows and all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, so next available 19th of September. But again, we don't know whether that's going to happen at this stage. We don't know.
Well, what are they going to do with this coupling then that they've had problems with? They have to remanufacture it, redesign it, go back to the drawing board?
Well, don't really know, to be honest with you. I mean, we don't know whether it might have been just a faulty seal, in which case it was just a case of hot swapping it, or maybe it is a design fault, perhaps. I don't know.
Space.com are reporting that they're going to try and replace the seal.
Right. Okay.
But that's still, it's because of what it is and where it is and all the rest of it. That's not a 5-minute operation. They only announced that yesterday evening. But yeah, they've got to replace the seal on an 8-inch. That's a big bit of pipe, 8-inch quick release.
Yeah, I mean it's a whole mechanism with quick release, so it's not just a case of just unscrewing something, putting a seal back in, there we go, off we go. No, it's not as simple as that. So I don't know. I mean, then obviously they've got to then test it as well, and who knows what that's going to throw up. So don't know. And if it throws up that there's potentially another leak, or there is another leak, then there's obviously a design issue. In which case, it's going back in its little house.
Yeah, little house. It's got its own weather system.
Big house, yeah, its own weather system, yeah, its own environment, as the NASA call it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's so bloody big,
so tall it can get clouds forming at the top.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, they tried to force it, didn't they, or something, to see if the seal had.
Yeah. So what they did was they build up the pressure in it with helium in order to kind of then kind of force it, basic brute force with high pressure helium. But that didn't work. And they also tried warming up as well, warming the seal up perhaps to soften it, perhaps that because obviously hydrogen, it's liquid hydrogen, it's going to be extremely cold. So they tried that as well.
If it's just an O-ring, O-rings can be made of different materials, so the materials is the problem then.
Yeah, I don't really know what the actual seal or what the actual seal is actually made of. I suspect it's probably some sort of silicon or rubber material. I guess I don't know. No idea. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully, if they're just going to replace the seal, then and if it all works, then hopefully we'll see a launch maybe sometime after the 19th or on the 19th. Who knows? Don't know.
Why haven't I got any Simon Dan's 1 minute quickies or whatever? Hasn't he done any lately?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know. I was just scrolling through the shield your shit.
Not since Friday, I don't think. No, not since last week.
Misinformation minis, he calls them.
Yeah, I can't find any. No,
not misinformation, is it?
Was
it not
misinformation? Is it misinformation minis?
Something minis? Not misinformation. Was it? Not oh, fuck off! I don't know bloody name.
It has mini in it though.
It's like one he had the other day was, you lose like 40% of your heat through your head.
Yeah.
I was understood that to be true, and apparently it's not.
No, it's not.
Well, that's actually misleading. I think what he says, because that's if you have your body, it's what your uncovered surface. So if your head is the only thing that's uncovered, then you're going to lose most of your heat.
Well, that's where the misconception came from that study they did with the American soldiers or something years ago in the 50s or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they're all covered up except for their head.
So you lose most of your heat through your head. So that is true. But if you're uncovered, then no, most of it
but what that doesn't mean is if you've got the rest of your body covered and you've got your head covered, it doesn't mean that
you're going to get cold.
You're losing more heat because you're uncovered. It just it's just that it's still only 10% through your head. Did I just make sense then, or am I
I think so. Yes. Well, it makes sense.
No, your gibberish can make sense.
Just listen to myself. That doesn't make any sense. What?
Basically, you're saying what heat you do lose, you will lose through your head. So the rather than whatever 40%.
Yeah, exactly.
10%. Yeah. But that's the question: is do they still need to put the hats on the babies? Because that's an interesting. Some maternity places do it, some don't.
I with my son, he never wore hats at all. I don't remember him ever being covered over his head. And apart from maybe a onesie at night time or something like that, like a little sort of baby onesie thing, and that's about the height of it. I don't remember him wearing a hat at all.
My daughter did, but my son didn't.
Yeah.
The daughter, they gave a little Terry Towling hat thing when she was first born for a while, but not with my son. So different hospitals though. So there you go.
There's one thing that annoyed me. There was one dickhead on Twitter, and he was some business guru. Basically said, so why is it with Apollo there was never any glitches? There was no problem with Apollo. Are you fucking mad? Then his comments got absolutely blitzed by geeks like me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you could write pages and pages of the different glitches that Apollo had. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, Apollo managed it, so why can't they do that with SLS? Oh, you fucking idiot.
I mean, hey, let's start with Apollo 1.
Yeah. 3 people killed, by the way.
But no glitches,
that was the first. Yeah, that was the first one that everybody brought up.
Crazy.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, nerd.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah, I posted a question as to what was DNA. You had to but you had to spell it right.
Oh, God, no, I can't.
The other question was, how long does the light take to come from the sun to the Earth? I think I've got
10 minutes, isn't it? 10 minutes?
I thought it was
Like
7.
or 8 minutes or
Eight.
something?
7 or 8 minutes. I can't remember which one
That's
it is.
what I thought it was.
8. I got 8 minutes was the answer I got.
Yeah, so when you see the sunset, it's already set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which British physicist wrote A Brief History of Time?
That was the guy in the wheelchair, forgetting his name. Forgotten his
Stephen
name.
Hawking.
Stephen Hawkins, that's it.
Stephen Hawking.
Couldn't think of his bloody
Hawking,
name.
not Hawkins.
Hawking, yeah.
Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. That's it. Couldn't think of his name. You know when you picture a face and just the name just doesn't come to your head. I don't know why.
Which Apollo mission was the first to carry the lunar rover?
Apollo 15.
15. Yeah, that was an easy one.
The one that landed at an angle that had it gone about another degree more, they would have aborted.
Yeah.
But they had no problems.
No.
No glitches. No
glitches whatsoever.
No glitches.
Shit, we're going over. Landed on the edge of a crater.
Wouldn't it have been good if they did have in those missions? They could have made a big movie out of it, you know, if they had a glitch in one of the missions.
Yeah, that made a good film. That could have had some good catchphrases and everything in it.
You know, could have put. You know, they could have had Tom Hanks in it.
Yeah,
let me
Tom
think.
Hanks would have been
Here's
a good choice. Yeah.
Here's a good one for film. Failure is not an option.
Yeah, Gene Kranz.
Whilst wearing a waistcoat. Yes.
They need to do a whole movie on Gene Kranz's life. He's really
they do
character.
actually. Yeah,
They need to do a full movie from the. I mean, he was with the the whole space program literally right from the word go. Soon after NASA was formed.
Yeah,
he really was right from the go and right away to Apollo 17. Brilliant, really good life. Needs a movie.
Well, I've got a conundrum at the moment.
Okay. Have you?
Yeah, something happens to Earth every 200 million years as it travels through the galactic arms. Or did gravity or other constants change over time? That's my conundrum.
That sort of conundrum.
I know.
Conundrum.
They both. And by the time next Saturday comes along, Anton will drop a few others, and I'll probably forget to watch one. And I can't watch both because they both go for 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
flip a coin or peanuts can help vote.
Well, maybe you'll have to do the gravity one because it might change by next Saturday.
Yeah, what happens to Earth every 200 million years? Well, 200 million years is a long time, so I think we can wait for that one.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Does it pass go and collect $200?
What?
Does it pass go and collect $200?
Like $200.
Yeah. Okay, well, what did gravity or other constants change over time? A new study explains. Insert gravity, the gravity
Okay.
thing. No, I haven't got that. Blue's probably got it stacked in his somewhere. What do we need? That, and that. And that. Now you can speak, Anton.
No, you can't. You got to press play first.
Play.
I was waiting for Matt.
Oh, sorry, Terry.
Yes, Matt.
Press play. Sorry, I was distracted.
Okay.
Hello, wonderful person, this is Anton, and today we're going to be discussing some of the new discoveries in regards to dark energy, or actually more specifically, in regards to the recent test the scientists conducted trying to determine if the gravity and gravitational constant changed over time in the last 5 billion years. Something that was implied in some of the previous studies that tried to explain dark energy and the accelerated expansion of the universe by trying to see if maybe some of the constants were not actually constant. And we'll actually discuss some of these concepts in some of the videos you can find in the description. But before we talk about the findings and the study itself, I guess it's also important to understand what the actual problem is. When it comes to cosmology, there are still quite a lot of unanswered questions. But a couple of decades ago, specifically in 1998, the scientists studying different supernovae realized that some of the galaxies were actually expanding away from us much faster than they should be. Which eventually led them to conclude that the universe wasn't just expanding, it was also actually accelerating its expansion, something that very likely started approximately 5 billion years ago. Or in other words, if we were to take a look at this picture of the Big Bang expansion, for the first 8 billion years, the universe had relatively constant expansion, with the exception of this inflation period in the beginning, but in the last few billions of years, it actually started to expand faster and faster, with the physicists postulating the idea of dark energy as a kind of an explanation. And in simplest terms, it actually appears as one of the constants in one of the Einstein's formula. It's usually referred to as the cosmological constant. And though initially it was believed to be zero, today we know that it doesn't seem to be zero. At least that's what it seemed like for the past couple of decades. And so a lot of modern theories suggest that the universe is going to be expanding faster and faster, and even potentially one day rip apart. And a lot of observations from telescopes like Hubble more or less confirm that the universe indeed seems to be accelerating based on the observations from various supernovae. But naturally this did not explain exactly what's happening, how does this work, and what's causing the universe to grow in size larger and larger. And if you'd like to learn more details about the Big Bang expansion, check out one of the previous videos that should be in the description as well. But the question was now, is it actually because of this constant in the formula? Is it because of some kind of a particle? Is it because of some kind of a misunderstanding of what we're measuring? Or is the constant not a constant? And more specifically, some studies imply that maybe the gravity itself changed over time. Although as a side note, my personal favorite explanation so far is the one from the recent video that you can also find in the description. It actually kind of tackles this from a very different perspective, looking at the cosmic voids. But anyway, and so what's the actual answer? Did the constant change? Did the actual gravity change? Or is the expansion due to something entirely different, with the values of these constants not changing over time? And the thing is, if the constants did change over time, it would create some major problems for modern physics. Many of the explanations and calculations today rely specifically on various constants not changing. But the scientists have actively been trying to solve this for a few years now, with this particular survey known as the DES, Dark Energy Survey, being the largest such project. They've already had 3 separate data releases, with the latest one, along with the analysis, now available online, and presenting us with a final, more or less conclusive evidence that proved that various constants did not change in the last 5 billion years, almost definitively, suggesting of course that the nature of gravity remained the same at least for the past 5 billion years, which would also naturally imply that the expansion of the universe is still just as mysterious as it was before. But I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about this particular release, how all of this was achieved, and why the scientists are now pretty certain that this dark energy stuff seems to be kind of real and seems to be actually causing the universe to expand faster. Once again, nobody really knows what exactly it is. It's very likely some kind of an effect we still don't understand, most likely not a particle, but it's definitely real. So let's talk about how they did this and how all of this was achieved. First, quick reminder. A lot of modern cosmology is essentially described by the model that you see right here, that you can also read about in the description below, known as the Lambda CDM model. It might sound complicated, but the idea is kind of simple. It's also known as the Lambda Cold Dark Matter model. CDM in this case stands for Cold Dark Matter. And here it basically says that the universe is filled with something that we still don't understand, that seems to hold a lot of galaxies and a lot of clusters together, giving them a lot more mass than they would have otherwise. But it's something that's very likely not hot. And the reason it's called cold is really to just suggest that it's most likely not some kind of energy. Basically, it's something that does not move as fast as the speed of light. So, possibly a particle, or maybe some kind of a phenomenon we don't understand. But the lambda refers to that cosmological constant, the idea of the expansion and the acceleration of the expansion. And although there are quite a lot of alternative explanations to dark matter and dark energy, the vast majority of those explanations cannot actually explain everything in the universe, as well as this lambda CDM model that does explain almost everything, even though it does have quite a lot of mysteries within the model. Which is of course one of the main reasons why most scientists seem to believe that this is very likely true. Not 100% true, but it does provide more explanations than anything else. But as I mentioned, one of the explanations for lambda, for the cosmological constant, was that, well, maybe first of all, it's not a constant, it has changed over time, or maybe the gravity itself changed over time. In some sense, both of these are potential explanations because you can technically fit the data by changing some of these formula. But if you change the formula, you suddenly create so many new problems. So that's why the scientists did not want this to be an answer, or at least they actually hoped it wasn't the answer. And to try to see if this was the answer, they needed to do a lot of observations and conduct these observations several times. And that's what DES essentially did. They used several very powerful telescopes, such as this one right here, located in Chile, to look at that very specific part of the universe 5 billion years ago, when the scientists believe the expansion itself started to accelerate. And if by looking here and measuring some of the gravitational parameters, they would discover that the gravity did indeed change, they would suddenly have the answer to that dark energy problem. And so for several years they were staring at this spot somewhere right here, trying to see as many galaxies as possible, although naturally all of this was kind of automated, mostly because they weren't just looking at 5 or 10 galaxies, they were looking at nearly 100 million of them, with the main purpose of observations being gravitational lensing, although maybe not as strong as you see in this case. And in each of these galaxies, they were trying to find subtle distortion due to, for example, dark matter or a lot of other mass present close to those galaxies. And although the galaxy itself is not going to reveal the strength of the gravity, the way that it looks from planet Earth does help us understand how strong the gravity was back then. And so as the light travels toward us, it gets distorted and warped by various types of mass and matter, eventually making it appear either curved or slightly smeared. And as you start looking at more and more galaxies, it becomes possible to not just estimate, but extremely accurately calculate extremely precise value for the strength of the gravity at those particular regions of space. And mostly because the strength of the gravity determines how large and how massive some of those distant structures should be, which as a result then determines how curved some of the objects will appear. In the end, discovering that there is practically no difference with the gravity value that we have today. And because in this case the sample was pretty big, over 100 million different galaxies, we can only assume that their calculations are most likely correct. But because this is science, the project is obviously not finished yet, and the scientists still have to confirm everything and double and triple check everything afterwards. More specifically, there are going to be more releases from DES in the future, and starting next year in 2023, we'll also have another telescope looking at all of this and potentially providing data from even farther away. The ESA's Euclid telescope is going to be able to look back approximately 8 billion years into the past, and thus measure the effects of gravity and the values for these constants even farther back in time, with the Nancy Grace Roman telescope then finishing this mission as it looks even farther back, revealing the universe 11 billion years ago. These two telescopes actually have a lot more capabilities than even the Hubble telescope, so they're going to be providing a lot of new data for dark energy researchers. But until these two telescopes launch and start their missions, the conclusion from this paper, well, it's really in their last sentence. Overall, we find no significant evidence for physics beyond lambda CDM. No physics broken, no constants that are not constant, and no changes in gravity that would have explained the observations from dark energy. Which of course also means that dark energy is back to being mysterious. But we'll talk more about this once new studies come out, once more observations are made, or once someone else proposes a different explanation. And by the way, check out that previous explanation from just a few weeks ago that actually is super exciting. It should be right there or in the description below. On that note, thank you for watching, subscribe, maybe share this with someone who loves learning about space and sciences, come back tomorrow to learn something else, and maybe support this channel on Patreon by joining channel membership or by buying the Wonderful Person t-shirt you can find in the description. Stay wonderful, I'll see you tomorrow, and as always, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. I'm not sure he's recognising the gravity of the situation here. I'll get my coat.
Argument, but
I'm down with gravity.
Oh yeah, that's good. Just for anybody asks about the noise. Oh.
No, you didn't do it close enough to your mic.
Fuck it then. Just
Have a tea.
I'll just drink it. Trick is to do it sort of off camera and be looking down that and go.
Yeah, doing it down like that. Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah, with the look. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, giving it all of that and going, cheers.
Yeah. Is it
Oh,
warm?
it's still warm.
It's still warm.
Yeah. This beer's got too much head on it. It's not beer.
Anyone heard of Timbo Turtle?
Don't ring any bells.
No.
Is he?
Okay, grab your pillow. It's a long one for me. 10 minutes, whatever it is, 11 minutes.
Well, it's 11 minute this one. Is anything new on the Flat Earth? Part 1. Well, wouldn't it only go just for the title and then it'd be finished, because I didn't think there was anything new.
Waiting.
It's not my responsibility. It's not my video. I can't accept.
Oh, okay.
None of the others were yours. And none of the other ones were yours.
Well, no. It's the person's
okay.
video.
You want credit?
Is in
You want
the
credit?
panel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
credit.
Sorry.
Yeah, you want
Okay,
credit.
yes, you can push play. You can push play. You can push play. Go for it.
Who?
Push the triangle. Terry.
Yes, Timbo.
You have to ask him.
Can you hit that little triangle for me?
No, I just pressed the space bar.
No, he's not getting this, is he? He's just
we're going to train him better, Matt.
Terry.
Yes, Matt.
Press play, please, Terry.
Okay, I can do that for you.
G'day, Timbo Turtle here with another video. It's my great pleasure to have Mr. Alex Gleason with me, the author of Is the Bible from Heaven and the Earth is a Globe, and he's also well known for the Gleason map. His book was published in 1890, and I thought it'd be interesting to compare some of Mr. Gleason's thoughts against some of the modern day flat earthers. So thank you, Mr. Gleason, for spending some time with us. I'd like to start off with getting your thoughts on about the shape of the Earth.
We have been taught that this Earth is a globe, approximately 8,000 miles in diameter, consequently about 25,000 miles in circumference. This circumference necessarily forms a curvature of 8 inches to the mile. This is accepted, and is the acknowledged standard by all surveyors, engineers, navigators, and astronomers of the world, who believe the so-called Newtonian theory. This amount of curvature to the mile, on a circle of 25,000 miles, may be, and has been proven correct, not only by figures, but by draft or diagram. For the convenience of the mechanic, or anyone who may have a scale graduated to hundredths of an inch, let them strike 1/4 of a circle, which radius shall be 40 inches. This represents 1 inch to every 100 miles, consequently, the hundredths on your scale represents the miles on your diagram.
Well, that sounds pretty normal, so basically draw a quarter of a circle.
While this diagram does not give the fractional part of a mile on so small scale, yet it is quite satisfactory, in round numbers showing that the accepted system of calculating the curvature on a circle 25,000 miles is correct. Further on we give a scale less complicated that may aid in the construction of the above. That about 3/4 of the surface of the supposed globe is water, we need not stop to prove. As this is the case, so sure the waters conform to that curve, and make 3/4 of the surface of the globe. Whether the waters are in a canal, ditch, lake, or ocean, whether a body of water 1 inch in depth, or 3 miles in depth, whether it is the weight of a feather, cobweb, or 1,000 tons, whether it be at the supposed poles of the globe, where the motion could be only half the motion of the hour hand of the clock, or 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, all must conform to that curve, and those motions, all must be held in position by the same attraction, or force. But before we speculate further, or multiply wonders, let us see if we can prove that water has no curvature or convexity. If we fail to do this, we fail of sustaining our faith and position. In order to get a straight line, we must first get something that does not conform to any curve whatever, in any direction, in the least particle.
So what would you use to do that, Mr. Gleason?
Happily, there are two things that can be demonstrated to be straight, the rays of light and the line of sight.
That all seems so reasonable so far, Mr. Gleason.
Mr. Webster says that a straight line is the shortest distance between two given points. Grant it, and who can give a better definition? But it will be interesting to follow Mr. Webster a little in his definitions of his geometrical lines, and notice how straight he works. He defines a level thus, not having one part higher than another, even, flat, smooth, horizontal, a line everywhere parallel to the surface of still water. He also says, it is a curve, the center of which coincides with the Earth's center, a horizontal line or surface. All waters conform to the curve of the Earth's surface. Here Mr. Webster calls a level a curve, and conforms it to the supposed curve of the Earth.
Well, that's the same definition we use today. It's interesting it was the same in 1893.
Now, we will notice what Mr. W says in another place, under the head of curve, as especially giving a definition of the word, a line of which no three consecutive points are in the same straight line. And who could give or ask a better definition? It is, without doubt, the evident conception of every intelligent mind in regard to a curve. But, Mr. Webster, you have just defined a level as not having one part higher than another. You also say it is a curve.
But that's mixing up two different definitions. You sure you haven't been listening to some of the modern day flippers?
We have no railings against the much-honoured professor, but leave the matter for the time with the reader to draw such conclusions as best he can. We venture to assume, however, that he has followed a hypothetical theory, taking things for granted without a demonstration. But these conclusions of Mr. Webster are inevitable to all who take the Newtonian theory.
So your complaint is he's putting in his dictionary what all the modern scientists agree with. Interesting. I see you've looked at some other publications. Looks like Britannica. Unfortunately, you don't have the internet.
Now, there are things that are apparent that are true, also things apparent and yet untrue. We shall, therefore, try to make demonstrated facts appear as such. As we have before alluded, there is a standard to which all intelligent people who have eyes, whether cross-eyed, nigh or far-sighted, may resort for proof.
Well, it's refreshing for you to say in another way that you can't trust your own eyes.
Line of sight and the rays of light. It is a fact which no astronomer, surveyor or engineer will deny or question, that the theodolite, telescope and level of the surveyor, conforms to and coincides with the spirit level, and these coincide with the line of sight, which does not conform to the supposed curve of the fifth or to any curve whatever, apparent or unapparent.
Well, that sounds like a pretty standard claim without evidence. I see you've done some curvature calculations. What other evidence do you have to present, Mr. Gleason?
I have on my table a profile map of the canals of the state of New York, recently procured of the state engineer and surveyor at Albany, NY. This map shows the elevation of the water's surface and the length of each level or distance between each lock on the Erie Canal, also the altitude of each level above tide water at Albany. Now, according to this state survey, of which we know no negative question, there are two so-called levels of the following lengths, the longest level being 62 miles between the locks at Lockport and those at Rochester. The fall of water on the line of 62 miles is 3 feet in the entire level or cut, whereas if the Earth were a globe 25,000 miles in circumference, and the proper allowance be made for curvature, there would be a divergency from either end of the cut of 2,562 feet 8 inches, according to the accepted formula given.
Mr. Gleason, we've already discussed that in engineering, that level conforms to the curve of the Earth, and where we draw a straight datum line for convenience, that still doesn't preclude a Earth curvature. You should be aware of that.
I will now give my own experimental tests as to the convexity of the waters of Lake Erie. On the 4th of July, 1887, whilst standing on the bank of the Niagara River, and near its mouth, I concluded that I saw a point of land, known as Lighthouse Point, on the south shore of the lake. My suppositions were questioned by some standing by, and I was informed by an old seaman that it was 30 miles to Lighthouse Point. It lay by line of sight behind another prominent point, known as Sturgeon Point, the latter about 20 miles. Anxious to settle the matter beyond doubt, I took a pocket field or marine telescope, and in a few hours I arrived at Silver Creek, a village of 2,000 or 3,000 inhabitants, Lighthouse Point being about 1/2 mile from the railroad station or the village. I there found a Mr. E. Arnold, a civil engineer of the Nickel Plate Railroad, and engaged him to go out to the point, taking his 2 transits or theodolites, to take a level of the waters and make such observations and demonstrations as our instruments would furnish. As we reached the prominence and point extending into the lake.
So if we do this pretty quick, Mr. Gleason, you said you were at the start of the Niagara River, which would be at Buffalo, and then you said you could come down to see Lighthouse Point, which is down south, and halfway between would be Sturgeon Point. And if we just do a little check on that, not that I doubt anything you've got to say, but the measurement would be about 27.3 miles. Thank you.
I discovered the smoke of some steam craft up the lake, and just at the horizon line, the smoke was all that could be seen by the unaided eye. Before directing the large transit to the object, we went down from the elevation some 25 or 30 feet to the water's edge, and set the legs of the instrument in the water's edge, so that when leveled, the telescope stood about 5 feet above the water.
So you were able to get to Lighthouse Point, you saw there's a big cliff there, you looked out over, saw a boat in the distance some way off, realised you couldn't do much from there, so you walked down to the water's edge, and I'm assuming it must be somewhere down here, because that's the only bit of beach near the water. And from there you were able to look out, and you should be able to see back to Sturgeon Point, which is about there. Okay.
The instrument was directed. I said, "Have you got it?" "Why, yes," says Mr. Arnold. "Does the line of sight intersect the water?" says a bystander. "No," was the reply of Mr. Arnold. Previously to setting the telescope, Mr. A had judged the vessel to be 20 miles or more distant. "How far do you now think the vessel is?" I asked. "About 10 miles," was replied.
So you determined the ship's distance by guessing. Well, that's not very scientific. And you're not even a mariner. That's interesting.
10 miles would require a divergency of 66 feet, 8 inches, according to the formula. Mr. Arnold, seeing this, says, "How high are those propellers, Mr. Gleason?" "About 60 feet from the water to the top of the smokestack."
Mr. Gleason, you only just saw the ship. You don't know its name, size, or its make, yet you are so knowledgeable of its dimensions. I didn't know you were such an experienced mariner.
And yet you see the entire vessel from the top of the smokestack to the water beating against her bow. After making due allowance for the 5 feet of the transit above water, according to the formula, we would not any more than see a very small portion, if any, of her smokestack. "I don't understand it," says Mr. Arnold.
With such sketchy information, Mr. Arnold, I don't understand that either.
"Now, please direct the instrument to the Canada shore," said I. This being done, I was invited to look through the leveled telescope, and as I now have before me a government marine chart, giving all points and distances on Lake Erie, I give the same according thereto. From the point where we stood to the Welland Canal on the Canada shore is 22 miles, and from the same point of observation to the mouth of the Niagara River, my first starting point, is 27 miles. We could behold the land at intervals all along the Canada shore to the mouth of the Niagara River, or the northern portion of Buffalo.
You could say you could only see land in intervals, but given what you say, you should be able to see the whole coast if the earth was flat. Maybe there was some elevation and some hills. When we look at street view, we can't see much at all. Admittedly, you had a telescope in your theodolite.
We could judge approximately the line of sight, or point of compass, from the mouth of the Niagara to Silver Creek, or Lighthouse Point, and this line of sight lacks just 1 mile of intersecting Sturgeon Point, which has been suggested to me as a barrier preventing the sight of the point, but this is not the case.
But you haven't said whether you could actually see Silver Creek, just that you can tell where it should be from your map and your compass. Look, we might have to leave it there, Mr. Gleason. Thank you for your time this week. I'm hoping we might be able to meet again. I've got some other questions, particularly about your map, I'd like to take up. So we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for listening to you guys. See you later.
See you later.
Yeah, gotta fix my microphone.
Yeah, there's nothing new in Flat Earth. You know,
I
they're
had to-
they're experts at recycling.
I had to turn that up a bit to hear it better.
Yeah. No.
I don't think it's your microphone. I think it's your sound settings in your Windows.
Could be, but yeah, I had to do a lot just to get that to be clean. It just every time I ran it, I just got really sketchy noise.
It sounded clean. It just sounded low, like.
No, I cleaned it up.
Oh, okay.
Even before that, it was really bad. Yeah.
Well, the microphone you're
I had to
using
go
now
through.
is not crackly, so that's one good thing. If that's the one you were using.
What's this? Yeah, this is the same one. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll just resolve it.
Yeah, we'll sort you out. Don't worry. We did have an issue with somebody else's microphone, but we haven't heard from them lately, so we don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he does go under some other, what you would call recycled, or what others have recycled.
Okay.
That are just so similar to what everyone else says.
Yeah.
But
One
I'll
of the
pick it up.
peanut sellers thought he was American, but he's got a British accent.
It's got a Microsoftonian accent.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's not an actual recording of him speaking.
No, funny enough.
Ah.
No. It's actually very little about.
What era was he around? Or what decade?
1893. He published that book. So
They had.
He died in 1908.
Yeah, they had wax cylinder recording devices back then for people to record voice.
Yeah. They also had telescopes and knew the Earth was revolving and stuff as well. But and for a civil,
yeah,
I was going to say for a civil engineer, he didn't seem to know a lot about. When you read through the stuff, he started to say, I can see why he started publishing his stuff. He reminded me very much of Bev.
Well, I think that's probably where Bev gets a lot of his knowledge from.
Knowledge, you say?
Oh, sorry, wrong word.
He actually has a patent for a time chart.
I think we're all quite familiar with that one. Although the idiots think it's a map and not a time chart.
Yeah.
But if you see a proper copy of it, it's got two hands on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like a clock.
Yes. Anyway.
Oh,
I will do another one, but I've got something else in between then. For next time.
So we'll have to wait a while for part 2.
Yeah, maybe next week.
Okay.
But I'll have something different for Saturday. So
all right. Surprises.
Yeah, something short. I like short ones.
We'll finish off with Si. I think we've been going for. Geez, we've already been going for 3 hours and a bit already. Thought it was going to be a quick one.
What, 12 minutes?
No, I mean the whole show.
Oh, right. Well, you know what Think did? Yeah.
I know what Thought did.
That'll do. Close enough.
Yeah. Terry.
Talk to yourself now.
Let's play, Terry.
Yeah, go on, press play.
Last year, I looked at some interesting points regarding some evidence for a young Earth from the channel By the Book Ministries. Now, obviously, we dispatched that video with great success, but guess what? He's made a sequel. Hello all and welcome along to another Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you, a massive thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Blinkist. Does it ever happen to you that you just want to read a book but you don't have enough time? Right, back to today's video, which looks at the evidence, the scientific evidence for a young Earth by the YouTube channel By the Book Ministries. It's their second attempt, should be interesting. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start the video off like this. Let's start with my first scientific proof in geology: bent rock layers. Now, in many mountainous areas all around the world, you have rock layers thousands of feet thick, bent and folded without fracturing. They've been bent and folded without fracturing. But how can that happen if they were laid down separately over hundreds of millions of years and already hardened?
The thing is, these rocks don't fold over 5 minutes. These folds are caused due to considerable compressional stress over millions of years, usually caused by the movement of the continental plates smashing into each other at the speed of fingernail growth.
Try bending a slab of rock, a slab of concrete, any type of rock. Try bending it. It's not going to work. But if the concrete is still wet, it can be easily folded without breaking.
So you can fold wet stuff now. Fascinating.
The same principle applies to sedimentary rock layers. They can be bent and folded soon after the sediment is deposited.
The problem is, when that sediment is deposited, it's not rock, it's sediment. That means in order for it to fold like this, you would need a comparably short amount of time. There is no evidence to suggest that this is how these layers form.
Before the natural cements have a chance to bind together the particles into hard, brittle rocks. Grand Canyon is a great example of this. The canyon walls are hundreds of feet thick, containing multiple rock layers. Yet somehow this whole sequence of rock layers was bent and folded without fracturing.
Well, as discussed, this is a very slow process. And with the Grand Canyon, this is only visible because the Colorado River cut its way through it over time. Again, something which would have taken millions and millions of years.
But that's impossible if the first layer, the Tepic Sandstone, was deposited over North America 460 million years before being folded. But if it all happened during a recent global flood, those layers would still be relatively soft and pliable.
But how does a global flood lay down up to 20 layers of sediment all at once? All of them showing different ages when tested radiometrically. Seems almost magical, doesn't it?
You young Earth creationists are so gullible. Don't you realize that heat and pressure are the results for the folded rock layers? Ignore that guy for this reason. Yes, heat and extreme pressure can most definitely soften rock.
What was that?
Yes, heat and extreme pressure can most definitely soften rock.
I'm sure there is a but coming here.
But it also transformed the rock into metamorphic rock, quartzite, or marble. But that's not what the scientists found. The Tepic Sandstone is still sandstone, sedimentary rock.
Yes, because sedimentary rock is formed differently to metamorphic rock. Sedimentary rock is formed near the Earth's surface, as we explained, with many layers of sediment becoming compacted and cemented over millions of years. Metamorphic rock is formed due to high temperature and pressure deep within the Earth. And the driving force of that is the very heat and pressure that it's subjected to. The driving force behind the sedimentary rock formation is the compacting of the sedimentary layers on Earth's surface. A really, really big difference.
Only a cataclysmic event like a global flood can account for all of the massive amounts of sedimentary rock found all over the continental United States.
Other countries are available for geological review.
The next reason is found in biology, soft tissue and dinosaur fossils. Now, the majority of people I talk to, whether it be on college campuses, online, or anywhere, believe the universe and the Earth are very old. They accept this based on the prevailing view that dinosaurs died 65 million years ago and the fact that we have dinosaur fossils.
We don't accept that age of Earth because of dinosaurs. It's just one of the things that we have evidence for to suggest that the Earth is a lot older than 6,000 years.
But a recent discovery by Dr. Mary Schweitzer challenged this age-old assumption. Bone slices from the fossilized thigh bone of a Tyrannosaurus rex found in the Hell Creek Formation of Montana were studied under the microscope by Schweitzer. To her amazement, the bones showed what appeared to be blood vessels from the type seen in bone and marrow, and these contained which appeared to be red blood cells with nuclei.
I'm just going to stop you right there, buddy, because this has now been explained in full. The iron in the T-Rex's blood preserved that tissue after its death. In 2013, Schweitzer herself, the lady that discovered the tissue, published a paper on her findings. I'll leave a link to that in the description and we will move on.
My next evidence comes from paleontology, living fossils. Creatures like jellyfish, horseshoe crabs, coelacanths, and many more are living proof of a recent creation. These animals were thought to have gone extinct millions of years ago, yet they're still alive today. For example, horseshoe crabs show up in the fossil record some 450 million years ago, according to old Earth dating. And then they suddenly disappear for hundreds of millions of years, yet they're alive right now and they remain unchanged for allegedly millions of years.
Unfortunately, this is also a very common misconception. Molecular studies show that these crabs are actually very different and only really have a superficial resemblance. Sometimes evolution paints with the tiniest of strokes. An unchanged, settled environment will do that.
The scientific community has easily debunked this claim. It's called the Lazarus effect. The Lazarus effect does not sufficiently explain how an animal can be dead for millions of years, suddenly reanimate itself, and come back to life.
Totally agree with you. I postulate that it never went extinct in the first place.
Instead, the fossil record shows that a global flood occurred only thousands of years ago that buried entire ecosystems. And although many of these creatures died, they did not go fully extinct. These so-called living fossils never fully went extinct, and the fact that we don't see change or the lack of change throughout the fossil record flies in the face of secular science.
Okay, but what about the animals that do show change? Why is it that you dismiss these if that is what you are looking for?
And last but not least, population growth. According to some old Earth models and evolutionary timelines, Homo sapiens diverged from chimp-like ancestors 3 to 6 million years ago. In that case, there should be multiple billions of people alive today.
Last I checked, there are billions of people alive.
And many billions buried in the fossil record, but there isn't.
Well, the majority of humans have all lived within the last around 190,000 years, far too short to be fossilised. Also, because of the nature of our species and our cultures, it's highly unlikely that many of us will be completely buried in sediment shortly after death and preserved.
With the world's human population now approaching 8 billion, as it turns out, a biblical model of Earth being repopulated from Noah's 3 sons and their 3 wives starting about 4,500 years ago fits perfectly with the number of people living today.
And you'd have to have no problem with incest.
The evolutionary model and the old Earth model falls laughably short. There should be many, many more of us alive today and many of us buried in the fossil record, but there isn't. This is utter nonsense.
Couldn't have said that better myself.
The reason why there's not more Homo sapiens fossils is because the process is extremely rare. You need many preconditions present for something to be fossilized. Furthermore, the recent spike in population growth in the 1800s is due to agricultural advancement and modern medicine. You make some interesting points. I agree. There's certain conditions are required for something to fossilize, like a watery environment, rapid burial in mud and silt. Sounds like the preconditions of a flood. And perhaps the lack of Homo sapien fossils is due to humans fleeing to higher ground during the global flood, and they were not rapidly buried in mud and silt.
So how did they die then, if not for the flood? Did they starve on their little islands? This is laughable reasoning, isn't it? And I've had enough. Dear, oh dear. Well, there we go. Another attempt at proving a young Earth and a complete and utter failure. We're done. We're done for another Tinfoil Tuesday. We are all done and dusted. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really, really liked it, hit that like button as well. Just enough time to once again thank Blinkist for sponsoring today. If you would like a free 7-day trial and then 25% off the Blinkist annual premium, then click the link in the description. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another Misconception Mini. See you then.
When was that put out? It's not saying.
So a little point to make, right? Just an observation.
Yeah, I've got a couple
right?
too. You go first.
Yeah, Adam and Eve had 3 sons. Do you see the problem with the picture here?
And
Yeah.
their daughters.
Yeah.
They were a very close and loving family.
But the 3 males, dude. One died, and then the last one was born, Seth, after Abel was killed. Right. So the 3 sons. How did they what that word?
Reproduce.
Either reproduce or procreate.
Procreate. That's the word. That's the
Okay, or procreate.
Well, there was only one female available.
Well, there's nothing recorded because Eve only had 3 sons. That's it. Nothing else says that she had any other daughters or anything like that by anybody else.
But the Bible talks about the others. That's where they came from.
What others?
Well, that's what I said. That's where the wives for the sons came from. The others.
Oh, the others. Well, we don't. Who does it say in the Bible what the others are? It doesn't say then. Does it? The others.
Just miraculously, there are others.
Do you think that was kind of added in later on when somebody thought about it? Thought, hang on a minute, we better put something in there.
What's the same with Noah? That story. That's even got holes in it.
Well, let me just put it this way: I don't think the people who wrote it actually thought that this was more of a story than a science book.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't meant to be analysed when it was first put together. It was just a tool for the priests. That was it, because everyone was illiterate back then.
Or it could be a very, very early example of a MacGuffin.
The who?
Oh dear, this story doesn't work. We need some magical little thing to help us out. Thank you.
Yeah.
The others. These are the first 2 humans on the planet, but others.
Yeah, it depends on which book you read, but there is a section which talks about the others, but only very minor, like
Just a quick mention. We better put it in there. That covers us because they were others.
But the others experimental before Adam and Eve come along.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always find it interesting is that they refuse to believe in evolution, but they actually believe in evolution because they realise that they can't have the Noah's flood and the animals on the boat, and then suddenly this diversity of life with that limited number of animals from the boat. So if you go to the Ark Museum place, they show this thing which, funny enough, looks just like a evolution diagram of how everything evolved into.
Ken Ham?
Oh yeah, how everything evolves into all these other species after the flood. But anyway, the other point was if all the humans went to the top of the hills, why didn't all the animals go up there as well? Wouldn't they be trying to get away from the flood as well?
Well, they usually do. That's the natural instinct.
Yeah.
Clive Wells, the others were aliens, apparently. So maybe that's why everybody keeps saying we're descended from aliens.
Aliens.
And I've never heard any explanation of why there's different nationalities on the Earth from...
that's the Tower of Babel. That's the Tower of Babel.
Was it?
That's
okay.
Tower of Babel.
Yeah, Babel. Yeah. Supposedly. That's why we have different dialects and people speak different languages.
And different skin
colour.
colour?
To build a tower. Well, they all went across to different parts of the world after that. They dispersed. Because part of the story was that after Noah, they were told to go forth and multiply, but they didn't. They stayed in one place and eventually
so
built the Tower of Babel, and then So they didn't go fourth. No,
No,
did
they
not
tripped over and they
didn't
tripped
go.
over and come fifth.
They did
They
that in
didn't.
Life of Brian. They showed that in Life of Brian.
Yeah.
Yep.
When the matey boy had been quiet all those years, he told them to go forth and multiply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. He did.
He
Yes.
did most vehemently.
Yes. So they they built the Tower of Babel, and then God made the Tower of Babel fall down because they were a bit arrogant. At least that's just brief story. It's a bit long.
Yeah, but we never hear about these contradictions and anomalies in the Bible. We always just hear about other parts that they always repeat.
Well, the frustrating thing is for a Christian, all this is crap because it's the second half of the Bible that a Christian should be worried about. That the first Christ doesn't talk about.
Oh, what you mean
the origins at all?
The Jewish half.
Yeah, they talk about the Jewish half. Christ doesn't talk anything about this part of the Bible. It's not what he talks about it at all. So I always find it funny to call yourself a Christian, and get stuck on the first two chapters of the Bible. It's doesn't seem very good. Particularly as the first two chapters contradict each other. But anyway.
My favourite contradiction I never got a sensible answer about was God had selective salvation for people. He decides who's going to be saved and who isn't, right?
Yes.
But everyone, if you confess your sins and accept Jesus as your saviour, you will be forgiven and you will be going to heaven. But apparently, God's still going to choose who's going to be saved on Judgment Day.
Yes, but
interesting.
that's one of the ways he chooses though. So that's not really complicated.
No, but
But
so for instance, right? If it's a bit of to me, it's a bit of an enigma, right? So if I say, well, like say, okay, well, I'm gonna confess my sins and I'm gonna accept Jesus as my savior, but what would be the point if it comes to Judgment Day, this so-called Judgment Day, that God decides, nah.
No, that's not how it writes.
You're going to hell, sod you.
Yeah, no, that's not how it's written. There. If you accept it, you would go to heaven. So, I think what does get wrong is the idea that you could have a deathbed confession. That would be extremely difficult. Because you have to regret, and for you to receive forgiveness, you actually have to be sorry for what you did, and
but that still doesn't guarantee you a place in heaven.
No.
On Judgment Day,
well,
right?
Yeah, I believe it does. But
does it? That's a guarantee, is it? Okay. From what I've heard, from what I've been, well, I suppose it depends on what sect you're talking to.
Yeah, I mean, because
there's
different
selective salvation. Is that God will decide ultimately who is saved and who isn't on Judgment Day.
Yeah, I think that's what you find. The people who are first are more likely to be on that side of idea that God, even though you might call yourself a Christian and accept Jesus as your savior, if you don't accept him the way we tell you to, then God's going to reject you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a different sort of Christianity. To say, these guys that say you must believe in the Bible literally, or you don't believe in Jesus. I said, well, that's not what Jesus said.
If you don't believe in my God, if you don't believe in my God, you're going to hell. And then the other person says, well, if you don't believe in my God, you're gonna go to hell. So which God do you believe in? Do you believe in what Islam's teaching you, or do you believe Christians are teaching you? Because either way, you're going to go to hell. So, who's right and who's wrong? That's what it boils down to. My God's better than your God. I'm not in your book club.
I always like to joke. There's a joke where, the guy gets up to heaven and he's getting shown around and says, oh, okay, this is where we have all the Presbyterians and there's all the Baptists and over there's the Anglicans and, here's the such and such.
Yeah, all slightly different teachings. Yeah.
And then he sees this big wall as he's walking around and he says, what's the wall for? He says, You'd be quieter in there. The Catholics on the other side, they believe they're the only people here.
I didn't see what Farmer put up. I wasn't looking.
Are you
I'm
not in his book club?
I'm not in your book club. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got to make
Exactly.
that bigger. I'll make it bigger
Exactly.
for everyone to read. Yeah, there we go. I'm not in your book club.
So it's very frustrating, the religious verse, and the people are using, obviously anyone who follows a faith, to have the vocal minority put forward as being this is representative of your faith. That's not the reality.
Well, we could talk about this for hours, but we're not.
We could, but
no, we're not going to do that. No, that's about as far as my theological discussion goes. That's it. Because
Here's
otherwise,
mine.
I find it really boring.
All gods are man-made.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
True.
Do you know what happens to me once I'm dead?
Nothing. We
Nothing.
don't know.
I'm
Really.
dead.
Yeah.
Well,
nothing.
we don't. Well, the thing is, we don't know what happens to you.
Yeah, you're dead.
Everything about me will go because my brain will cease to function.
Yeah.
That's it.
That could be.
But that's actually. I mean, that's as. I mean, for me, that's is a harder concept to get my head around than it is the idea of going to heaven in a beautiful place, streets paved with gold and all the rest of it.
But
we're
in heaven, you know. This is heaven.
The streets paved with gold. Who cleans them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
white
no
gold.
dirt. I think there's weirder things you can get into. Is the question was, when you get to heaven, if you've been married 7 times, who you married to?
I'm sorry, truth nerds.
Anyway, let's get away from
let's leave it. Let's leave
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hell, thanks Timbo, thanks Farmer, thanks Blue, thanks Jean Baptiste Lamarck, thanks Space Matt.
Always a pleasure. Never a chore.
Dora, biggest doggest ball, Truth Nerds, Wolf, Brainery, Clive, Little Wolf, Roomfondle, Dora. Now I've got to scroll up further now.
You can click on participants. Did you know that?
Where?
You should have it on the top right-hand corner of your chat. It should
3 dots.
Oh, yes.
Should be 3 dots. Click on participants.
Okay, I've never thought of that one.
There you go.
Okay, so it's biggest doggest, Brainery, Clive Wells, Dora, Farmer's Boy, M Ball, Little Wolf, Truth Nerds, and Roomfondle.
There you go. Make life a little bit easier. I don't think that includes the people that have left the chat. Perhaps later on. I don't think. I'm not sure.
because
they missed out on Clive.
Yeah, and I'm not on there.
That's missed out on. That's missed out on a few people. Zebulon.
Okay.
Who
Not
else?
accurate then.
Who
So
else?
it's
Missed
who's
out?
in the
Colin. Missed out on
current chat.
Colin. Who else? Scott Bennett, Howard Moore.
I don't know. Then. Should list all of them.
Love, Judy Bassett. Let's miss out on a few of them.
Colin. Yeah.
Truth Nerds. Yeah, Colin. Boomer U. Howard Moore.
Yeah, I don't know why it's missing out on missing those ones. I really don't know.
Yeah,
I was going to say, are
Don't use
they
it.
the only moderators though? Is it just showing
Everybody is.
moderators? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I thought.
everybody's a moderator in this on this channel.
until I do the culling at the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
Everyone.
I just thought, actually, I would like to live forever. then I can do what Barrick Wowbagger, the infinitely prolonged, did.
Who?
Wowbagger, the infinitely prolonged.
I have no idea what you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
don't got no idea what you're talking about.
Hitchhikers. He decided.
Okay.
There was an accident with a few rubber bands, a liquid lunch, and a particle accelerator, and he became undying, immortal, and so he decided to insult the entire universe in alphabetical order.
I never watched the entire thing.
You need to read the books. The books has just got so much more in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wowbagger, the infinitely prolonged.
But according to those books, there is no population of the universe.
Well, because the universe is infinite.
But this,
Yes,
but this
it's
show's
so-
not, so we're going to wind her up.
Righto.
Okay.
Words of wisdom or parting statement.
Yeah, the
Feel
Earth isn't
free-
flat.
Yeah, feel free to add to the word salad on Witset's video, please, folks.
Oh yeah. That'd be good.
Night peanuts, night panel.
Night peanuts.
Night.
No.
Afternoon.
Well,
Evening.
Good night, Peanuts.
Morning.